Hear from her in a second,
But this being
yeah,
the picture,
right,
picture, which is the basis of the charge against Greitens.
right. That
And
they didn't have it. Nobody has the picture.
they had no case. And we talked about this, you know, several weeks back, that if you look at this case and the politicization of it by this state's attorney, Kim Gardner, the unwillingness of the St. Louis police chief to put his stamp of approval on the investigation and on the prosecution, it was a very curious case. It started to kind of set up like this was going to be much like that Baltimore police prosecution.
Hmm.
Let's very celebrated because it was very politicized. But when you actually looked at the evidence and to some extent how they put the case together, you say, well, they have no case here. The problem for Greitens came when you had the Attorney General, Josh Hawley, who's running for Senate against McCaskill, break bad on him with respect to fundraising and allegations of illegal fundraising during the campaign, using a list from a nonprofit that Greitens started to raise political funds, setting up a group called New Missouri that may have improperly coordinated between with the nonprofit that Greitens had started and his campaign. A
Oh,
Cole
that's a stretch.
Well, but a Cole County judge this week, yesterday actually, ordered the nonprofit to abide a subpoena issued by a House investigative committee at the state level to turn over communications and documents relating to the coordination between alleged coordination between the nonprofit, the governor, the governor's campaign committee. So the sense is that yes, it was never going to end, as you heard Greitens say in his
Yeah,
announcement
and
that he was resigning, but that it's that there's perhaps a problem there. So I mean, it started out as this salacious sex story, and it ends up really being a story about campaign fundraising.
yeah, and that's why Greitens feels like the victim.
This ordeal has been designed to cause an incredible amount of strain on my family.
So now enter the most talked about woman in Missouri, this mistress. It was his former hairstylist. They had an affair years ago. And she wants everyone to know. She came forward to one station, KSDK, didn't reveal her face. It was just a shot of her hands. And she
KS, right?
KSDK. Oh,
No,
yes, her name is
KS
KS.
is
Yeah.
what the name she's
Yeah,
going by.
that
Right?
she's going by KS. And she is not lying.
I'm not lying. This was hard. It was hard at that time, and it's hard to talk about now. I'm not lying.
And then he said, well, what exactly happened with the stand by the House report? And the House report had said that he slapped her, he tied her up in the basement, he forced her to perform oral sex.
I do have to ask you if you stand by the things, for instance, that are in the House report.
Yes, I do stand by them. They were hard to talk about. Really, really, really hard to talk about some of the things. But I absolutely stand by it.
Did you feel like the governor coerced you into something you didn't want to do?
I mean, ultimately, yes. I mean, looking back, it's so hard. I see myself as so vulnerable.
So you've heard people say, well, if you didn't want it, why did you go back? Why? Because you guys had a few other encounters. What do you say to that?
I just wanted to feel better. I felt so, awful about myself. I wanted to forget whatever happened. I didn't want to believe that that actually happened. And so if he really likes me, then yeah, it didn't happen like that.
Ew. So why didn't she testify? That was a big question. And what was about this alleged dream you had?
I definitely did not dream this up. Period. I didn't.
There's a reference to a dream in the interviews you've given. What did you mean by that?
I was trying to say, no, well, I haven't testified to seeing a phone. And the reason really is because the memory that I have of it isn't strong enough to testify to.
Right. So the memory of the phone, meaning the phone that was allegedly used to take a picture, that was the basis of this prosecution. So your star witness is unwilling to testify because, at least she's being honest, her memory isn't strong enough to stand by that statement, and so you have no case.
But what I found so odd, the reporter ended his report on set with Mike Bush saying, her ex-husband's attorney's office was paid $100,000 for the information. And that's legal, I guess. I mean, they weren't paid for the interview, but that for that information that came forward was paid $100,000.
Yeah, I mean, it's
She didn't want this. I mean, she even said, like, I've had no say in this. I've been used and abused and just been like a punching bag.
I'm in the middle of the most difficult, crazy fight that I didn't ask to be a part of. And I feel like I'm this easy punching bag, yet I haven't thrown any punches.
I believe her on that. I mean, her ex turned on her, and she was telling him something in confidence, and
yes.
and profited off it, and brought down the governor of Missouri.
Well, so right, so he's upset because she has an affair, and so wants to get Greitens. Okay, I understand that. And then the prosecutor in St. Louis is looking to, take a scalp and make her career. So she goes with this flimsy case, and then it all falls apart. And as I said, it turns out that once you started tearing Greitens' life apart, that there's at least some questionable fundraising tactics that were used, such that you had Republicans turn on him. And I think the problem is Republicans turned on him, number
Right,
one,
that's-
including Josh Hawley, perhaps arguably to score some political points of his own as he's running for U.S. Senate. Don't think that didn't factor into the calculus. And then the other thing is, the whole thing's just sordid.
Yeah.
So it's not that he should have been criminally prosecuted, clearly, with respect to this affair, but it's sordid, and it's one of those things. We were talking about this a little bit off air yesterday. The fall from grace. Like, how does Trump get away with
Right.
past bad behavior and Greitens doesn't? Well,
Because the Missouri folks that I was with, I said, well, why you're accepting of Trump, but you don't like Greitens? They called themselves non-Greitensers, which you hate that term.
yeah,
you
that
think it's
needs to
horrible.
be workshopped.
But
I
that-
guess there's no need for it
No,
now, but
no need for it.
non-Greitensers.
And you nailed it. What? Just repeat what you told
Well,
me. 'cause
the
it's so
point
true.
is, it's the fall from grace. Greitens, Navy SEAL, Rhodes Scholar, lovely family. This is like the golden boy, and you didn't know anything about him. Trump, you knew everything about him. His sordid details have been all over tabloids for 35
Our whole
years,
lives,
right,
really.
prior to him running for president. So, as many people have said, it was built into the price. For Greitens, it was not built into the price. So the fall is a high one because he was in a lofty perch. And I think that's why he ultimately gets pushed out. Plus Republicans that are not street fighters, generally speaking, the way that Democrats are in most places, and this may be part of that as well. But I mean, look, Greitens leaves office with higher approval ratings than Rauner. Think about that.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
Candace and DuPage.
I think this case is really upsetting because I think this is a new Democratic MO, what they're going to do, like they're trying to do to Trump, that you make up a story, and it doesn't matter if it's true or if you have any proof of it whatsoever, because the press will carry the MO and destroy the person first and report anything, the prosecutor leaks, whatever. It's the same thing that is happening with this whole spy thing. It has all the same, and I don't like this prosecutor at all. The guy, to me, is a scumbag. Okay, and I think these prosecutors have way too much power.
Well,
And this guy, I don't care if he, I was listening to Prager about this. I don't care if he had an affair or not. That's a separate issue. You need to start having proof before you go and destroy and blow somebody's life up.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Candace. I mean, that's the question we ask all the time: who watches the watchmen? Who oversees the overseers? Right? Kim Gardner in this case. We've got many other instances, and I think there is some truth to this MO of saying, let's find a way to break the seal, and then even if our theory of what potential wrongdoing may have occurred doesn't work out, now we've got a wide open field where we could find something else to cover our tracks that constitutes wrongdoing, even if the basis for our initial investigation was illegitimate. And I think that is a problem. That's, the proverbial fishing expedition. And that's sort of what, got Greitens in a net.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, nothing says summer like the smell of a grill, a delicious handcrafted burger, and a cold beer or cocktail. The Country House has been providing just that for over 40 years. Their 3 great locations in Lisle, Clarendon Hills, and Geneva offers great hospitality in a casual neighborhood setting. Try their award-winning Country Burger, half pound of fresh chuck, grilled to perfection and served on dark rye. Country House has several other choices for burgers like bison, elk, turkey, and veggie, and their top drawer burger blends short rib, chuck, and brisket for an unmatched taste. Take your time looking over the daily specials while you enjoy the spacious deck in Geneva or hang out on the patio in Lisle. And don't forget to join the House Rewards program at Country House and earn points while you dine. All new signups will be entered into a drawing for tickets to see the Northsiders versus the Southsiders. Country House. Visit burger1.com. That's burgerone.com.
As a business owner, you have hundreds of decisions to make on a daily basis. It's beyond needing to pay bills, keeping employees happy, or what the next step is to grow your business. Part of your stress can be making sure you're protected in a time of crisis. Can you trust that your insurance provider is going to be there when you need them most? When you're looking for a partner who's there for you in your most desperate times, call Insure with Us. You won't have to wait on hold to talk to an agent who's unfamiliar with your policy. Speak directly to who wrote your policy when you have any urgent question or need. Don't hesitate. Get it done today. Get a free quote in less than 24 hours at lowcostinsurance.biz. Choose from dozens of top insurers across the U.S. Insure with Us focuses on finding you the best coverage for your business and for your family. Visit them today at lowcostinsurance.biz. Insure with Us. Coverage for the things that matter most.
Every business needs great people, and the better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter revolutionized hiring. Their technology finds great candidates for you. No wonder 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. Goodbye post and pray. Hello ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The expensive mattress you're considering buying is a waste of money. Hi, I'm Christian von Rickenbach, founder of HelixSleep.com, the only place to get a customized mattress starting at just $600. Just go to HelixSleep.com, fill out our 2-minute sleep survey, and we'll design a mattress made just for you with a 100-night sleep trial and financing as low as 0%. And during our Memorial Day sale, go to helixsleep.com/talkradio and you'll get up to $150 towards your mattress order. That's helixsleep.com/talkradio.
Squirrely is a hard-working squirrel that enjoys life to the fullest, eager to take on new challenges and experiences alongside Starlet, his soulmate and the love of his life. Read Squirrely the Squirrel and Starlet and see the world through the eyes of a newborn squirrel. You'll delight in the antics of Squirrely, Starlet, and their little family. A heartwarming adventure that teaches family values. Beautifully illustrated, a great story-time read. Squirrely the Squirrel and Starlet from Larry Friend. Available now at litfirepublishing.com. You will fall in love with Icy the Iceberg, the new, highly original children's book from Larry Friend. Follow Icy on his incredible journey, beginning his life as a sparkling snowflake and emerging as a beautiful blue floating iceberg. Icy the Iceberg is a joy for parents and kids alike. Experience together the fun creatures Icy encounters along his journey from snowflake to iceberg and back to snowflake. Kids will learn the complexities of the water cycle in a way they'll really enjoy. Icy the Iceberg, available now at litfirepublishing.com.
Hey guys, Ken here from the Business Accelerator podcast, Today's Growth. If you had to choose a vehicle to take you up the rocky side of a mountain, would you choose a Ferrari or a Jeep? The Ferrari's faster, cooler, maybe even sexier, but if you have to get to the top, the Jeep's a better bet. I think we can agree getting to the top is not about the driver, it's the vehicle. Have you noticed people often pick their financial vehicle like they pick their cars? Washington Post shared that only 1 out of 4 people choose a job that uses their college degree. Why? Simple. Something more immediate, maybe cooler, maybe even sexier came along first. Shouldn't the main deciding factors for revenue generation be production or output? Should the cool factor have any weight in choosing someone's income? If getting to the top of the financial mountain is mission critical for you, why not add a few Jeeps to your garage? Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that makes it to the top every time? If so, you have to see the Jeeps lined up at IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
It's 5:57. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the Edens Expressway, traffic's moving pretty well right now. Kennedy inbound, heavy Cumberland to Canfield. It's 22 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. On Eisenhower, delays kicking at Wolf Road. 36 minutes, 390 Burn Circle. How about 31? Stevenson, 42 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 21 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 20 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 425. North on Tri-State, heavy approaching 290. Rain is incoming, already affecting some of the west and southwest suburb traffic. Service of Express Employment Professionals. Are you looking for a new job this summer? Get ready to win in your job search with the help of Express Employment Professionals. Visit expresspros.com for your local connection to jobs. Don't do it alone. Visit expresspros.com and let Express open a door for you. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560 for The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center with meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Tropical rains from Alberta will affect the area today. We'll have a high approaching 80. Periods of rain will continue to the evening. Otherwise, remaining mostly cloudy and humid through the night tonight with a low of 68. Partly sunny day tomorrow, high 91 and a low 66. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
The news, a service of Napa this month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. A 3-pack of Peak microfiber claws are just $1.99. Plus, with each purchase, Napa will make a donation to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. That's Napa know-how while supplies last. At 5:59 on AM 560, it's time for a dry basement and a healthy home. Time to call Permaseal. 800-421-SEAL. Time to check the top stories we're following on AM 560, The Answer. Chicago Fire Department remembering the diver who died this week while searching for a missing boater. There are still traces of the bacteria that causes Legionnaire's disease found at the Quincy Veterans Home. Former Naperville man is suing after spending 2 decades behind bars for the 1995 murder of his mother-in-law. A Northwestern University student is in critical condition after tumbling from the top story of a fraternity house on campus. Anthony Rizzo sparking a 7th-inning rally in a Cubs win over the Pirates, 8-6. 3 solo home runs for the Indians in a win for the White Sox, or win over the White Sox, 7-3. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
A boast that'll have Trump critics shaking their heads. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
I'm the only politician that produced more than I said I was going to produce, and we're only 1.5 years in.
The president at a rally in Nashville last night also again claimed his campaign was infiltrated by the FBI and the Russia probe, which Democrats say is false. And the president again pledged to build a border wall. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, President Trump called for stronger borders, saying Mexico does nothing to help the United States stop the flow of illegal immigrants into the country. And he again promised to build that wall.
I don't want to cause a problem. I don't want to cause. But in the end, Mexico's going to pay for the wall. I'm just telling you.
Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto tweeted in response, "No, Mexico will never pay for a wall. Not now, not ever. Sincerely, Mexico." Dave?
Rachel, at the rally, the president did not mention Roseanne Barr, who was widely condemned over a tweet deemed racist about former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett. Barr tweeted last night she did something unforgivable, went too far, and doesn't want it defended, but also said she was on Ambien at 2 a.m. when she sent it. ABC canceled her popular show.
Channing Dungey said the following. ABC Entertainment president saying Roseanne's Twitter statement is abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with our values, and we have decided to cancel her show. Robert Iger, by the way, the chairman and CEO of the Walt Disney Company, retweeted the statement and added this: "There was only one thing to do here, and that was the right thing."
Fox's Julie Banderas, get out. That's what people in McDowell County, North Carolina were told after midnight. A dam at a lake in danger of failing. Water spilled over. There's been a landslide. In Hawaii's Big Island, 71 homes are now destroyed.
I look outside and I see a river of lava going down the street about 10 miles an hour. I opened the door and it came inside.
He had to be rescued by helicopter. Fox News, fair and balanced.
On AM 560, The Answer, your opinion counts. And we want to know how you feel about the news stories we're talking about each and every day. Make sure to vote in the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll at 560theanswer.com. Listen for today's poll question at 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. and hear the results each evening at 5:30. It's the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll on 560theanswer.com.
A lot of people have life insurance through work. It's a great short-term benefit, but is it enough? A lot of those policies only cover a year's salary. Not enough to pay off mortgages or send kids to college, the things life insurance is meant for. That's where SelectQuote comes in. SelectQuote is your personal life insurance guide. They get multiple quotes to find you the best price from the highly rated companies they represent. John is 36 and in excellent health. He got a $500,000 policy for under $20 a month. Life insurance is about peace of mind, not a false sense of security. Which are you getting?
Call SelectQuote now at 1-800-881-4343. That's 1-800-881-4343. Or get started at SelectQuote.com. 1-800-881-4343. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
People have long associated the Ozinga name with concrete, but truth be told, Ozinga has always been on a quest to create a better world. We want to help you build your business so you can provide for your family, create better jobs, and build your community. It's why we constantly engineer better concrete, haul raw materials, and supply cleaner fuel. Together, we can positively impact the places where we live, work, and play throughout the Chicagoland area. To learn more, go to ozinga.com. That's OZINGA.com.
So, you're a truck driver, a clutch cowboy, a wrangler of the road. At Ozinga, you are exactly who we need. Concrete truck drivers. People who aren't afraid of a little adventure and hard work. If you're tired of monotony and are looking to build something that matters, then come build with us. At Ozinga, we are building our families, our communities, and our country. Apply online today at ozinga.com. That's OZINGA.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Real Estate Revealed with Randy Barcella, Sunday mornings starting at 8.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Do you buy Roseanne Barr's Ambien Defense? Do you care? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Of course, talking about the cancellation of the Roseanne show amid a tweet storm from Roseanne Barr. The key tweet, many insulting. The key tweet, though, was directed at Valerie Jarrett. And
and she put Muslim Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes.
I don't think we need to continue repeating it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what.
Yeah, I know.
And she
everybody
deleted
knows.
it and then apologized for it, saying, "I'm truly sorry for making a bad joke about her politics and her looks. I should have known better. Forgive me. My joke was in bad taste." And then she went on to blame. She claimed she'd been mistaken about Jarrett's race, and she also claimed she had been on Ambien at the time of the tweets.
Yeah, the old Ambien defense. 2 a.m, Ambien, and I shouldn't have been tweeting.
Well, she's been up all night. I mean, she finally went to bed at about 5:35 our time when she tweeted, "Thanks for your support," because people are supporting her on social media. Good night.
Valerie Jarrett took time away from the set of Three's Company to do a hastily organized MSNBC town hall moderated by Chris Hayes and Joy Ann Reid, incredibly, and also featuring panelist Al Sharpton.
Yeah, it was
taking this time away from her duties with the Obamas to, for this teachable moment.
I think we have to turn it into a teaching moment.
I'm fine. I'm worried about all the people out there who don't have a circle of friends and followers who come right to their defense. The person who's walking down a street minding their own business and they see somebody cling to their purse or want to cross the street. Or every black parent I know who has a boy who has to sit down and have a conversation, the talk, as we call it. And those, as you say, those ordinary examples of racism that happen every single day. And I think that's why I'm so glad to be here this evening talking with all of you.
Yeah, and of course, she was obviously talking about Jesse Jackson Sr., who famously said that when he has a young black man walking behind him on a sidewalk late at night, he feels less safe than if it was a white man. So a teachable moment for Jesse Jackson Sr. Jared also was baited by Chris Hayes to, sort of blaming Trump. Tone, our culture. Is Trump to blame for Roseanne's tweet?
This president has set a tone that has made people feel increasingly empowered to say those kinds of things.
Well, this is what I think, Chris. I think tone does start at the top, and we like to look up to our president and feel as though he reflects the values of our country. But I also think every individual citizen has a responsibility, too. And it's up to all of us to push back. Our government is only going to be as good as we make it be. And as Reverend always taught me, people on the inside have to push hard, and people on the outside have to listen. And I think that I'm heartened by so much of what I've seen over the last several months. Those young people from Parkland who were able to force Florida to change a law that they had no intention of changing before the tragedy shows what happens when ordinary Americans lift up and have their voices heard.
It's a lot of politics to pack into this teachable moment about race relations, ostensibly, and I love her reference to Al Sharpton, too, as the Reverend taught me. Oh, the good Reverend Al Sharpton. He's not a charlatan.
The tax evader. Hey, wait, how many of you guys on this stage have paid your taxes?
Among other frauds, like Tawana Brawley.
But here's the deal. The reason why they connect Roseanne, obviously, with President Trump is because she has been out there on the late-night talk shows supporting him. But in their show, she always drops a Trumpism. Oh, that's not it. Thank you.
Thank you for making America great again.
And sometimes she'll wear a MAGA hat, and
Good Lord.
But the reason I love the show. The show is my dirty pleasure. I'm sad to see it go. I really am. I understand why, but does Roseanne Barr have a right to free speech? I mean, obviously, well, that's what some people were saying yesterday and on social media.
Do we have to have this conversation again? If people don't understand that your First Amendment right to express yourself is a restraint against government, not against private actors, then you just don't understand. I don't have time to go that far back to bring you forward to present. So learn something before you tweet. Here's a question, though. This posed by Robbie Sove at Reason Magazine. And he's not defending Roseanne Barr in any way, shape, or form. He's actually sort of picking up what David French and I got into a bit of a row about last week with respect to the change in NFL policy regarding the anthem. Here's what he writes. Conservatives won't watch football unless all the players comport themselves perfectly, rigidly adhering to the right's version of patriotic correctness. How dare you disrespect the flag, they say. Liberals don't think a television show should continue to exist if somebody central to its production does or says something super bad. How dare you traumatize our marginalized communities, they say. This race to find more things to be offended about, more reasons to start lynch mobs, doesn't seem particularly healthy for the fabric of American society, especially if right and left are determined to one-up each other on the outrage front. Many media companies will attempt to appease viewers on both sides of the ideological spectrum, and their output will be much less interesting. I won't particularly miss Roseanne, but I do miss being able to appreciate a television show, book, or work of art, even if I thought the artist was a lunatic. Is there something to that? Somebody who's a great comedian, great actor, great artist in some other respect, great inventor, who is a repugnant person. Is that person, short of criminal conduct? Does that person have to be drummed out of society if they live down to their character, as Roseanne did again?
See, you find Roseanne repulsive. I don't. I mean, I take her like she does stupid things. What she did yesterday with Valerie Jarrett's tweet was inexcusable. But then I take her for what she's an actress. She's a comedian. She's always trying to stir the pot. She's always trying to be the provocateur. And for her to, the show, they canceled it within 15 minutes. once this tweet came out. It was
Well-
it was fast moving story. And then when Wanda Sykes, who's a executive producer or contributing producer and writer on the
Yeah.
show, she quit. Then it was
No, Wanda. Yeah, okay. Wanda Sykes is that was the linchpin. No, Bob Iger, who's the president of Disney, wants to run for president. That's why he weighed in, and that's why it was so quick. In part, I would suggest there are other things at play in addition to just the culture, and this is what the Reason piece gets to. Are we one-upping ourselves, left versus right, in terms of outrage, and again, demanding that people who don't comport with one worldview or the other, or are of low character, are vile in some people's eyes, be drummed out of the public space, even if they have something to contribute? That's the question. And it could be vile Colin Kaepernick or vile Roseanne Barr. That's the question.
But once again, the big corporate, companies of America are deciding what we can and can't see because now they've yanked reruns from CMT, from TV Land. The existence of Roseanne is going to go away. We put her on the Kevin Spacey shelf. Never to work again. I mean, I love that show, too, because her sister was a flaming liberal who would wear nasty women T-shirts and the pea hat, and they'd get into arguments. And then throughout the season, you see them meshing and getting along and then still have, fight and joke around with each other about politics. It was set in suburban blue-collar Chicago. It was a struggling family. I love that show. We can't watch it.
Roseanne sort of reminds me of Reese Bobby in Talladega Nights. Gary Cole. It was brilliant. Just when things are starting to go good, you get kicked out of an Applebee's.
I hate to be a pain, darling, but I asked for no onions on my bourbon steak.
Oh, I am so sorry. I thought you asked for
Okay,
onions.
maybe don't interrupt me.
I'm a veteran! Dad! And a diabetic! Dad! Why are you doing this? Applebee's has rats! I found a whole rat in my Cobb salad. Things were going good, weren't they?
That's exactly why I had to blow it up. I don't know what organ or bone people have that makes them act right, but I was born without it. I'm no good.
Just like Reese Bobby, Roseanne Barr was born without it.
That's awesome.
Bob and Lyle, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thanks for having me on. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Mm-hmm.
Loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. When Benghazi took place, Valerie Jarrett, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, these are people that perpetrated a crime, and they incited, if anything was repulsive, was the idea that they were going to go ahead. And I knew this long before. I was calling radio stations and telling them it was a big lie when they had the trailer film. Roseanne Barr, I don't really care one way or another about her, but I'm just saying that the fact of the matter is that she didn't do anything criminal. These people are criminals.
All right.
And let's not forget about it.
All right, thanks for the call, Bob. Barbara and Wilmette.
Hello. I just wanted to say that I'm just getting so angry listening to all these people pick on Roseanne, who I like that show. I don't even watch TV anymore, but I
Me too.
watch that. But the thing is that they look at how those people criticized Sarah Sanders at that dinner, and even criticized her for the way she looks and everything else. And now they talk about somebody making a comment about Valerie Jarrett. You know,
thanks for the call, Barbara. Well,
if you never use the apes, monkey, orangutan, you don't do that.
Well, there's just a different.
I would never in a million years do something like that.
There's just a different reaction to racially charged comments than there are comments about somebody's weight or
their
hair or
where they're
fashion
from, the
sense
South.
or there's just right? We understand, and we understand why to some extent because of the ignominious racial history of this country, particularly as it pertains to black people. So there is more sensitivity there, and I don't think it's necessarily misplaced. The question is the question is a little bit of the consequences, and does this speak to some larger cultural dynamic that is concerning just trying to go back to that reason piece, raising that question, getting people to think about that a little bit.
And before she got to the Valerie Jarrett tweet, she was tweeting about Chelsea Clinton, that she's married to George Soros' nephew. And Chelsea Clinton...
Well, that's not true.
No, I know, but Chelsea Clinton had the best response. Good morning, Roseanne. My given middle name is Victoria. I imagine George Soros' nephews are lovely people. I'm just not married to one. I'm grateful for the work that they do in this world. Have a great day. I just love the tone she took with her, like she's a little child, like she's a little sick right now. Maybe she should go to bed.
Chip in St. Charles.
You know, I'm not going to defend Roseanne, but what I find interesting about this is it's the typical liberal thing. Everything gets banned right away. No matter what it is. I'm surprised they haven't banned the wheel. And there's no, like, taking Roseanne to the side. That's Roseanne. She's a little bit, she can be a little bit flighty.
A little bit
We're
flighty.
gonna have a little talk
yeah.
with her, and no, we got to ban it. We got to ban knives. We got to ban guns. We got to ban cars. We got to ban anything that they don't like. It gets banned.
Thanks for the call, Chip. Yeah, I mean, again,
you can't see her anywhere. You can't even see reruns now.
let's remember who Roseanne is, and obviously, the folks at ABC Disney knew who she was. Everybody knows who she was. She's been in the public eye a long time. Wall Street banker should be executed via guillotine. Boston Marathon bombing is false flag. Doxing George Zimmerman's parents, suggesting people go to their homes unless Zimmerman was arrested for killing Trayvon Martin. Falsely accused David Hogg of making a Nazi salute. Posed as Adolf Hitler for a satirical Jewish magazine, holding a tray of overbaked gingerbread men labeled burnt Jew cookies. I mean, this is not the national anthem, of course. This is not somebody exactly known for her good taste.
No, the poison grace did not grace her person. But also in 2013, she made a similar comment about looking like an ape and Susan Rice. And that was in 2013. So when people say that, this Trump encouraged her to act this way, she's been behaving badly her whole career.
Mark and Joliet.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. I'm no fan of Roseanne. Never saw the show, never intended to. But I can say this for her. I doubt very seriously that this is going to hurt her financially. She's going to weather the storm just fine.
Well, sure.
Unlike the rest of her cast and crew, who are going to find themselves back in the unemployment line, and in some cases, probably homelessness.
Well, yeah.
And for the people who really don't like Donald Trump, the good news in all this is that the unemployment just went up for the month of May, thanks to her tweet.
Thanks, Mark.
I mean, Sarah Gilbert, Laurie Metcalf, and John Goodman are the only people that have had sustainable acting careers. Yeah, Darlene's older sister, I don't even know her name. She's not going to get a job. I mean, I don't think she's going to act again, or the other cast and crew.
Roseanne did apologize to the cast and crew. The show employs hundreds for, ending their employment, at least on that show.
But they can't even get royalties from reruns now because they've been yanked from 3 networks.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I mean,
yeah,
it's a nice paycheck to live on.
My heart bleeds for Hollywood actors. Whew. Debbie in Schaumburg.
Hi, good morning, guys. I just wanted to make a point. I think she was taken off the air because she's dangerous in a way. She was creating a unity between the P marchers and the Trump supporters and doing it in a humorous way. The questionable grandson, his sexuality being questionable, and we can't have that unity. We can't come together. I sent a letter to ABC telling them I thought her joke was funny. And I said, if Michelle Wolf can go on TV and say the things that she does, and she's celebrated on The View, she has her own spot on TV, nothing happens to her. I find this very unfair, and that's all I have to say.
All right,
and even
Debbie.
Michael Fishman, who plays her son, DJ Connor, he wrote he's devastated. He hasn't had any work. Today is one of the hardest days in my life. I feel devastated not for the end of the Roseanne show, but for all those who poured their hearts and souls into our jobs and the audience that welcomed us into their homes. I was one of those.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
But the storylines
only you
were
would get hooked by a publicist statement for Michael Fishman. Goodness sakes!
You would love this show. I've been telling you this since the reboot. Can you please watch it? Can you please watch it? And every day, no.
No, I don't have to. Scott in Hanover Park.
Yeah, good morning. I just had a quick question with all of what's going on and being said about Roseanne. Doesn't Valerie still live in the Obama's basement?
No, it's not a basement.
It's a wing of the house.
Thanks to the call, Scott. It's not a
And
basement. It's very much like the Three's Company set. They have 3 rooms. They're in a complex. They've got a pool.
I think they dropped her off at the MSNBC town hall, and they're like, "Okay, call us when you're done. We'll pick you up."
Yeah. Then they went to Applebee's.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Free Tommy Robinson. Free Tommy Robinson.
Okay. But first, here's your forecast. Some rain today from tropical rainstorm Alberto, the high of 79 degrees. Then tonight, rain, otherwise cloudy and humid, a low of 70. And for tomorrow, Thursday, partly sunny and hot. Into the 90s we go again, a high of 91. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Rain is coming down in Waukegan, and in Zion, there's a crash which has Lewis Avenue closed between 21st Street and 173. Rain is falling in Aurora, so the speeds are reduced in those areas. Also, Joliet, Morris, it's getting closer to Chicago. The Edens, 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Kennedy, 29 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 25. Eisenhower, now 45 minutes from 390 to the Burnt Circle, outbound 31. Stevenson, now looking at 45 minutes, 355 to the drive. Ryan, 24 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 21 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 30. Tollways are still fairly light. Northbound Tri-State a little tight from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Homeowners often say their basement only leaks when it rains. Well, you don't worry about your living room getting wet, do you? Then why do you want to worry about your basement? Permaseal believes that your basement should be dry all the time, no matter how hard it rains. That's right. You can have a permanently dry basement. So give Permaseal a call at 800-421-SEAL. They offer a free estimate and transferable warranties, so you can rest assured you're getting the best value. You know, back in 1979, Roy Spencer started Permaseal, and it's still a local Chicagoland business whose purpose is to make the world a better place, one basement or crawl space at a time. Your basement is already dry some of the time, but if you want your basement dry all of the time, you know who to call. Permaseal at 800-421-SEAL. That's 800-421-7325. Or simply go to permaseal.net.
Your business's finances are very personal. It's the determining factor on the course you'll take for your family and your employees. But what happens when you're reaching a phase when you need advice? You want to turn to an expert, but who can you trust? Look for someone who is both knowledgeable and involved in the community, like Fred O'Connor of Northwestern Mutual. Fred has worked from Wall Street to Europe in the financial industry, but his calling as an engaged civic leader speaks to the earnest trust Fred has gained over his 30 years serving businesses and the families that run them. Fred serves on the board of the 100 Club of Chicago, the Big Shoulders Fund, and the Irish Fellowship Club. Fred can help you manage risk and plan for your goals, such as rewarding key people and strategies for business exit. Visit FredO'Connor.com to learn more about Fred's services and how he can take your business to the next level. That's FredO'Connor.com. Northwestern Mutual is the marketing name for the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fred O'Connor is an insurance agent of NM.
Gentlemen, when it comes to your daily health and quality of life, there are numbers every man needs to know, including our testosterone number. Hi, Dan Proft here. I personally recommend choosing my friends at Low T Center. That's where I got my levels tested. These guys are great. They make it quick and easy. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause lack of motivation and drive. It can raise your cholesterol levels, cause weight gain, and loss of muscle mass. If you've been experiencing any of these symptoms, it's time to get your levels checked. At Low T Center, they accept most health insurance and will even verify it for you. Low T Center's physicians specialize in treating low T in men. It's been their specialty for many years. They know men's health, and they're reinventing men's health care. When it comes to your health and daily quality of life, do what I did. Get your numbers checked. You owe it to yourself. Call 312-239-3427. Tell them Dan Proft sent you. The number 312-239-3427. Call 312-239-3427 or go to lowtcenter.com for more information. That website again, lowtcenter.com.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
Risk mitigation is an important consideration that smart companies pay attention to in today's complicated business climate. Some of the greatest risks occur when your company hires new employees or when you execute new business financial relationships. When your company hires, leases, or conducts financial transactions, decisions are critical. That's why veteran-owned and operated Global Verification Network is a company you should know. Startups to Fortune 100s trust Global Verification Network, and so should you. They're a background screening and investigative services company dedicated to expert, timely, and affordable background screening services for employment, tenant screening, and business due diligence. Global Verification Network is headquartered in Chicagoland, a federally recognized veteran-owned small business, and never offshores data like many competitors. To request your company's risk analysis without obligation or cost, visit mygvn.com or call 877-695-1179 or online at mygvn.com. Global Verification Network, the risk mitigation experts, 877-695-1179.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, take a couple more calls on Roseanne and Valerie. Mike and Union, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I would take offense, too, as being referred to as primates, and I think it needs to go a step further, and maybe they could stop teaching evolution, and then we'll all be good.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right. Thanks for the call, Mike. Steve and Gary. Not Steve in Gary, Steve in Gary.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yes. All right. Steve.
Amy, please be quiet. I'm trying to get on the air.
Oh yeah, okay, because I talk so much. Yes, please.
Keep pipe down.
Yes, you do, and you don't add much to the conversation.
Oh,
Steve,
you have to go.
your
You have
comments.
to go low. What's your comment?
Well, Amy, if you would be quiet, please. Everybody's assuming that Valerie is black.
Because she is.
Or she's African American. From what I understand, she was born in Iran.
Yes, she
I think she was the ultimate mole. She was the puppet master. She was actually the president. Obama was just a puppet, and he was a figurehead. And her crowning glory was the Iran deal. I mean, if you look at the transcripts of Osama bin Laden takedown, if you look at the transcripts of the Benghazi thing, she was running the whole deal.
All right, thanks for the call, Steve.
I don't know if I should tease. I talketh too mucheth.
All
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey,
Hey.
that's enough. Enough of the chatter over there. Just keep it down. Tommy Robinson, free him at 6:36.
But first, we go to the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Gray skies, rain on the way, 68 degrees. A mandatory evacuation is in effect for all residents below Lake Tahoma in McDowell County, North Carolina. That is in the western part of that state, close to Asheville. Emergency management officials say the lake's dam is failing. Residents are being warned that water is actually spilling around the sides of that dam. It is a life-threatening situation for residents there in North Carolina. The body of a Maryland National Guardsman swept away by floodwaters has been recovered. Edison Herman was trying to rescue a woman in Ellicott City near Baltimore Sunday when he was washed away by a torrent of floodwater. U.S. Senate candidate Mitt Romney making headlines this morning, standing by his comments calling a Texas pastor a bigot because of his past criticism of the Mormon faith. State Representative Mike Kennedy scolded Romney during a debate last night in Provo.
I'm grateful to hear my opponent say that he's willing to work with people, because when he's labeling President Trump as a phony and as a fraud and Pastor Jeffress as a bigot, I don't see those as productive steps in building relationships.
But the former Republican presidential candidate fired back, reminding everyone in the room that the president had endorsed Romney's campaign to replace Senator Orrin Hatch. Bayer getting approval for its planned takeover of Monsanto, a $62.5 billion deal. Missouri Governor Eric Greitens is resigning because of the scandals over campaign fundraising and an extramarital affair. Greitens said in a statement yesterday it was an honor to serve the state of Missouri. A man in critical condition following a shooting and crash in the Loop. The victim was driving early this morning when he was shot in the head and neck. The vehicle then crashed. There have been no arrests. Cook County Commissioner Bridget Gaynor, who's weighing a run against Mayor Rahm Emanuel next year, has already done her part to line the city's fiscal pockets. Records show that since 2013, 3 vehicles registered to Gaynor's Lakeview home have been ticketed nearly 200 times for speed camera, red light camera, and parking violations. It's a Sun-Times front page story saying Gaynor's family has paid more than $16,500 in fines over the past 5 years for a long list of infractions. Now, you may recall Mayor Rahm Emanuel usually travels the city in a 2-car motorcade. In 2014, ABC 7 reported the mayoral motorcade itself had been ticketed nearly 24 times, including violations for running red lights or speeding near schools where Emanuel's administration has installed those speed cameras. An investigation continues following a shooting in Elgin. Police say a person was shot yesterday near Larkin and Edison. Most Democrats in the Illinois House yesterday went on the record supporting a progressive income tax, but many voted against the idea. Several Democrats in tough re-election bids this fall voted against that tax. Anthony Rizzo and the Cubs come back to beat the Pirates in Pittsburgh 8-6. Indians over the White Sox 7-3. The news, a service of InvisibleFence.com. Invisible Fence brand has a deal for you. $150 off their Boundary Plus technology. Boundary Plus gives your pets access to your entire yard, complete protection against breakouts. Get a free estimate on the safest pet containment available. Go to InvisibleFence.com. 6:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains why Israel doesn't want to leave the West Bank.
Why would Israel leave the West Bank when it already has a perfect example of exactly what would happen if they did leave? The Israelis completely left Gaza, and it turned into a base of terrorism, a place to shoot rockets at Israelis.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Get your truly free credit score and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma. Download the Credit Karma app today. Credit Karma. Get knowing.
You know your old windows are costing a pretty penny in energy costs, and they don't look that great either. But finding the right company for doors and windows is confusing. Options, choices, pushy salespeople. Seems everyone wants to sell and install doors and windows. But you want someone who specializes, not a jack of all trades. The specialty at Next Door and Window is doors and windows. It's right in their name. You want only the best in quality and looks. Next Door and Window delivers with the largest selection of wood-clad vinyl and fiberglass products and custom stains and paints for a look and match that no one else can offer. Right now, get 33% off installation when you schedule a free quote by June 30th. Next Door and Window has showrooms in Arlington Heights, Burr Ridge, and Naperville. Online at nextdoorandwindow.com. But you want to call now to schedule your free quote. Hurry and do it before June 30th. Call 630-590-1370. That's 630-590-1370.
next door and window. Thousands of options, one perfect fit.
It is 6:36. Let's get an update on the roads this morning. We do that in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Second day in a row, Metro reports delays on the Southwest Service line due to mechanical problems. Eden's inbound has delays from Peterson to Montrose. It's 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Junction, outbound 19. Kennedy, 29 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 26. The Eisenhower, 46 minutes, 390 to downtown. It's 31 minutes outbound. Stevenson now 48 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Delays northbound start around Weber Road. Ryan, 24 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 23 minutes. I-80 to the Merge, Bishop 430. On Tri-State's Low Harlem to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Traffic Service of Napa. This month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores, a 3-pack of Peak microfiber cloth for just $1.99. Plus, with each purchase, Napa will make a donation to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. That's Napa know-how while supplies last. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Some rain today, high 79, and rain continues into the evening, warm and humid, a low of 70. Partly sunny and very hot, high 91 tomorrow. 68 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Kelly Financial Services, helping you secure your financial future today. Visit kellyfinancialservicesinc.com.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Have you heard about the case of Tommy Robinson? Tommy Robinson's sort of a guerrilla journalist in the UK. Think of him maybe, I don't know, like James O'Keefe maybe. But he doesn't do kind of undercover work. He just reports on things that maybe the British press is less inclined to report on. So he was outside Leeds Crown Court last week for the grooming gang, a grooming gang that was on trial. This is grooming gang is a euphemism for, gangs of Muslim men who are engaged in sex slavery of children.
So they take them from the parents, or maybe they're runaways and they just bring them into this life. They're pimps, right?
Well, it's
or is it darker even than that?
You've seen the reports of child bride ceremonies, and you've seen the reports of buggering and so forth. I mean, it's just, this is gruesome business here. And so there's a trial going on of a number of Muslim men at the Leeds Crown Court, and Tommy Robinson was attempting to report on this. He's characterized as a right-wing activist because he's not on board with the Londonistan crowd like Mayor Khan. And here's what happened.
Content of one streaming. I've been arrested for breach of the peace. Been arrested for breach of the peace. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. Can you get me a solicitor? Can you get me a solicitor?
Can you just turn off
Yes.
your live feed?
Can you get me a solicitor?
Just turn off your live feed, please.
Yeah. Do you understand what I've just said? No, can you explain it again? Suspicion causing a breach of the peace. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean, officer? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? I've been told that the police are doing the case.
Not at all, he's never said that.
That's the information I've got.
I'm inciting people.
I'm inciting people.
I'm inciting people. Through his video and
how have I incited
people? He hasn't.
This is free speech. This is where we're at. You're not even allowed to. Look at this.
Look how many people.
No matter what you try and hide. Do you know when you do this? More people. Really sharp things are like. Just let him do this.
So here's the gist of it. He, as Mark Stein recounts, He was not demonstrating or accosting or chanting or even speaking. He was just pointing his mobile phone upon the scene from a distance. Within minutes, 7 coppers showed up in whatever they used instead of a Black Mariah these days. That's him interacting with the cops. Tossed him inside and drove off.
Ooh.
In other words, they weren't investigating officers called to the scene. They showed up with the intent to take him away. Within hours, he was tried, convicted, and jailed. He's been sentenced to a 13-month prison term for violating a prior suspended sentence for a similar order. Yeah, that not exactly the case. Douglas Murray, who writes on this topic of, kind of Islamism in the UK and in Western Europe, noted that Tommy Robinson was jailed in 2014, not for Islamophobia, hate crimes, or anything related to Muslims, 18 months for misrepresentation on a mortgage application. At the prison
Who would ever do that?
At the prison in which he was located, he was attacked by Muslim gangs who operate with impunity in many British prisons. Murray remarked that many people make misrepresentations on mortgage applications, but the vigor with which the constabulary hunted down this particular mortgage misrepresenter is unique. And so you have some people that are rallying to his defense. I'm not remotely a fan of Robinson, but I don't like the idea that simply being Robinson is enough to get you arrested. This is sort of kind of Stein makes the compared to the old bill of attainder. Right? I declare you guilty, legislative action. I declare you guilty, and then I'll figure out why. There was a media blackout ordered by the judge on this trial because of concern that it would prejudice the jury. Well, as Stein points out, when a man loses his liberty and is jailed immediately without due process on an instantly quadrupled sentence, it would be nice to think a free press would be free enough to mull the pros and cons of such an action, but you're not getting much of that. Where is the rallying for Tommy Robinson among the vanguard of the Fourth Estate? Well, I'll tell you what, you do have regular people rallying for Tommy Robinson in the thousands.
Tommy Robinson!
Sing along. It's interesting, though. Where is the left on this story? Where is the left on Tommy Robinson? It seems that when it's a journalist with whom they don't share a worldview, whether it's James Rosen at Fox under the Obama regime with Eric Holder, I should say, or Tommy Robinson in this case across the pond, they're nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Bruno in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
First, I just want to say thank God for the Bill of Rights. But you know, Great Britain is toast. They are done. They're evolving into a police state where people can be put in jail just for saying something that's unpopular. And I think in another 25 or so years, with the way the demographic trends in that country are going, they're going to be living under Sharia law. It's an absolute disgrace that here we are on this side of the Atlantic. We're like one of the last bastions of ancient English rights.
Yeah, English common law. Yeah, thanks for the call, Bruno. Yeah, not exactly what the consistent with what was enshrined in the Magna Carta in 1215, is it? It is interesting to note, though, that it's not going unnoticed. You heard the chanting from the crowds. I mean, there are a lot of, I guess, Brexit voters, perhaps, that turned out to protest on behalf of Tommy Robinson and his imprisonment, and again, the kind of baseline right to freely express yourself and do things like report on a public proceeding like a criminal trial. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. Their Home Secretary, Sajid Ravid, He is a Muslim, and Leeds has been heading in this direction for a long time. They were when I was living there, and Leeds is one of the more heavily Islamified areas right now. London's getting worse, but Leeds was really bad up there. I'm not surprised that they're quashing this, since people over here lots of times don't understand that the Brits don't have this thing called the Bill of Rights.
Right.
They don't have a constitution like we do. And there's a whole lot of public speech repression, suppression that goes on all the time. And by the way, I mean, the Brits, normally they're not a very confrontational kind of people. So if you see the blokes out there screaming and hollering, those would be the ones that most of your everyday Brits would kind of do an eye roll over, like, well, they're a bit agitated, aren't they? They're a pretty easy people to subjugate. They line up voluntarily, single file, waiting for buses along the curb. It's kind of an odd thing to watch.
Well, the one thing, though, about that, you're certainly right about the Constitution, the lack thereof, the lack of a Bill of Rights. But, you know, the left is all about things that transcend our Constitution and our universal human rights when it comes to somebody who is a fellow traveler being repressed or oppressed, and again, nowhere to be found to extend their vision of those said human rights, which in this case I would agree with, you know, the freedom of expression.
Yeah.
Nowhere to be found when it's not a fellow traveler.
And you know what Tommy Robinson is talking about is essentially organized pederasty.
Yes,
all right?
right.
This is vile, nasty stuff. And the fact that people maybe don't want to admit that there's this predilection among that sect to have this kind of organized perversion as part of their lifestyle, like, wake up, people. There's a lot of darkness going on in among certain circles of that sect. And I wouldn't even say it's commonplace, but among the diehard, like, you know, the hardcore sort of Islamophiles there, this kind of pederasty stuff goes on. Talk to some of the service guys who've come back from Afghanistan, who've spent a lot of time out in the hills. This is widespread. Wake up, people.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Well, that's right. And by the way, there is a criminal proceeding ongoing with respect to members of this grooming gang. So this is not made up, number one. Number two, we had that Celebrate case. We talked to one of those guys in Afghanistan. Remember when they essentially took some alleged, you know, Afghan-friendly part of the Afghan military. They took him to the woodshed because he was raping a boy in Afghanistan, and these U.S. soldiers were not going to stand for it. The U.S. soldiers got in trouble.
That's right. I remember he was on our show, I think, a year ago.
Talk about universal human rights, free expression. How about the right not to be raped?
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
And that soldier, I do believe he was honorably discharged for doing that, for saving the boy. It was the tribal leader in the village, and he would take the same boy and rape him every chance he could, and they stood up for that little boy and protected him.
Why? And one of the guys who was honorably discharged did not. He wanted to continue to serve, but he was honorably discharged.
Yeah. Forecast for today, some rain from tropical rainstorm Alberto. It's rain in spots, a high of 79 degrees. Then tonight, some rain, otherwise cloudy, warm, humid, a high of 70. And tomorrow, the heat and humidity kick in. And once again, it'll be partly sunny, hot, a high of 91 degrees. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thank you, Dan and Amy. Rain is affecting the commute now. The Kennedy up to 39 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown, a little quicker than the Express. Eisenhower, 55 minutes, 390 to the Circle. Stevenson, 49 minutes, 355 to the Drive. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95 to downtown. Bishop Ford really heavy at 40 minutes, 80-94 to the Merge. And delays on the northbound Tri-State, 159th to I-57 with a crash in the right lane. Then heavy delays kick in at 95th. Veterans Memorial tight Finley to St. Charles. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Home prices rose last month. Italy's financial crisis raising questions about the euro. The Super Bowl brought in $370 million to the Twin Cities. Those stories next.
The backyard's looking great, Rob.
Thanks, man. I was planning on adding a deck, too. Know any good contractors?
Why don't you just ask Home Advisor?
Home what?
HomeAdvisor.com. You just tell them about your project and they match you with local pros that can do the job.
Nice. Now, how much does it cost?
Oh, HomeAdvisor's totally free to use. Plus, you can read customer reviews, check pricing, and book appointments for free.
What's the website again?
HomeAdvisor.com. Or just download the free HomeAdvisor app.
Patriot Mobile offers great discounts to our military, veterans, and first responders every day to show that they appreciate and value their sacrifice. Switching to Patriot is easy. You can keep your number and bring over your compatible phone. They even reimburse your installment and switching fees as a bill credit. $500 per line and up to $1,500 per account. Make the switch at 1-800-A-PATRIOT or go to patriotmobile.com. That's 1-800-A-PATRIOT or patriotmobile.com.
Home prices nationwide climbing again in March as supplies of available properties dwindled and mortgage interest rates continued to rise. The sharpest gains in home prices in Las Vegas, Seattle, and San Francisco. Political turmoil in Italy has concerns rising about the 19-nation Eurozone, concerns that Italy might abandon the euro, and observers warn that if all 19 countries don't stick with the euro, another economic crisis like the one Europe had between 2010 and 12 could occur. The Minnesota governor's office saying final figures show the Super Bowl brought in $370 million to the Minneapolis-St. Paul area this year. That's about $50 million more than the pre-Super Bowl projections of the Twin Cities Host Committee. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
For the second year in a row, we've partnered up with the 100 Club of Chicago for our annual golf outing, which will take place Thursday, June 14th. And we're raising money for the 100 Club, and their mission is to provide financial and education assistance to the families of fallen first responders. Sadly, we lost a Chicago firefighter yesterday, Juan Bucio. He died. He was on the Chicago dive team in the department for 15 years, has a 9 and a 7-year-old son who are going to need help.
You know, just a good student, good man. He brought his kids in pretty much every day, also his 2 boys. And they were just kind of like fixtures in this place.
Empty holes in our hearts for the loss of Juan Bucio, and the 100 Club of Chicago already in contact with the family to help with them, whatever they need, financial support, and help educate those 2 boys that are just 9 and 7 to help them in college and pay for their college. But they need your help. So we want you to buy a foursome for $1,196. With that, the proceeds go to the 100 Club of Chicago, and as a way of saying thank you, you become a business benefactor, which means we will give your company 25 60-second commercials that will air right here between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. It's a $3,000 value for $1,196. Plus, you can reach AM 560's audience of decision makers. So you'll be helping the great work of the 100 Club of Chicago. It's a win-win. So call now if you have any questions. Ann Jeanette, her number is 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951. Enjoy a great day of golf, support a great charity that needs our help, and reach new customers. 847-472-8951.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I'm Mark Gastineau. I played in the NFL for 10 years. I was diagnosed with CTE, with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's. The fruits and vegetables that we take from Balance of Nature is the best thing that we could ever do. And I'm calling in now to order extra because my wife has been taking mine because she sees a difference in me. It is a wonderful thing that Balance of Nature is doing. I hear the testimonies on the radio, but I'm a testimony for myself. And the fruits and vegetables, if I don't take them every single day, my day is not going to go the same. So God bless you, and thank you for what you've done for my wife and I.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. How many more shootings before we do something? That is, how many more good guys with guns have to stop bad guys with guns before we stop stigmatizing inanimate objects? The high school resource officer in Dixon, Illinois, and the Good Samaritan outside the restaurant in Oklahoma City aren't inanimate objects or 3-letter acronyms, so they are of minor passing interest to the D.C. Press Corps. While well-intentioned Americans want to hear ideas about improving public safety, Champagne socialists are interested only in using people's fears against them to leverage more power over them. This fact fact, was laid bare in a recently released email exchange between Obama consiglieres Rahm Emanuel and Arnie Duncan 2 days after the Sandy Hook massacre. In the exchange, Rahm tells Duncan, go for vote this week ASAP before it fades, tap people's emotion, make it simple, assault weapons. The dizzying intellect that is Arnie Duncan replied, yup, thanks. You understand now? You understand how little the political royals think of you and that they care for you even less than that? They are as cavalier with your life as they are craven in using the lives of 20 dead children to manipulate you. You might consider this when you're deciding how much of your life to turn over to them.
Message and data rates may apply. Texting enrolls for recurring text messages. Nice game. Man, you're really playing hard today.
Yeah, it shows what a great night's sleep will do. You know, since I started using Z-Quiet for my snoring, there's no more waking up getting elbowed. And no more moving to the couch in the middle of the night. You know, for the first time in years, the snoring's gone. And my wife and I both wake up feeling great. It's amazing, so easy to use, and it worked the very first night.
I'm Dan Webster, co-founder of Z-Quiet. For years, I was off my game due to snoring. My wife Trina and I were desperate for a solution, and we found it with Z-Quiet. There's nothing better than waking up feeling rested, happy, and best of all, in the same bed. So if you're ready to score extra points in the bedroom, get Z-Quiet.
Z-Quiet fits both men and women, and right now you can try it risk-free for a full 30 days for just $9.95. Just text SLEEP to 246810 or go to getzquiet.com. Text SLEEP to 246810 or go to getzquiet.com.
Gentlemen, when it comes to your daily health and quality of life, there are numbers every man needs to know, including our testosterone number. Hi, Dan Proft here. I personally recommend choosing my friends at Low T Center. That's where I got my levels tested. These guys are great. They make it quick and easy. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause lack of motivation and drive. It can raise your cholesterol levels, cause weight gain, and loss of muscle mass. If you've been experiencing any of these symptoms, it's time to get your levels checked. At Low T Center, they accept most health insurance and will even verify it for you. Low T Center's physicians specialize in treating low T in men. It's been their specialty for many years. They know men's health, and they're reinventing men's health care. When it comes to your health and daily quality of life, do what I did. Get your numbers checked. You owe it to yourself. Call 312-239-3427. Tell them Dan Proft sent you. The number 312-239-3427. Call 312-239-3427 or go to lowtcenter.com for more information. That website again, lowtcenter.com.
My name is Todd. I am a firefighter, paramedic. I'm a husband, I'm a dad, and I am no longer suffering from depression. With depression, you don't want to make friends. You just want to be alone. And it was a way of life for me. I have been seeing a psychologist for several years and not really getting anywhere. I've tried 11 different medications, which some of the side effects that I experienced were pretty severe. I finally reached out for help myself. It's very satisfying to know that something works.
HPR centers in Chicagoland and Milwaukee offer TMS therapy. In just a few weeks, you can change your life, and it's FDA cleared. It's covered by most insurance, including Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and Medicare. You can make real progress in the battle with depression, cure or remission. Get a free consultation. 800-604-0208. 800-604-0208. HPR centers. Go to endmydepression.com. End your depression.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
Your local 1-hour heating and air conditioning knows how miserable it feels when your AC goes out. You want it fixed fast, fixed right, and get a fast quote. Unlike some companies, we don't give you a quote until we actually see what the problem is. Then we'll give you our straightforward price and always stand by our work. Right now, get savings on any AC repair. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Just a call away. Call 1 hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560. The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Was it the Ambien talking? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Roseanne Barr suggests that in a late-night tweet that also asks people not to defend her over the now infamous message she sent widely condemned as racist about former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett, prompting ABC to cancel her show. Fox's Tani J. Powers has more live.
Dave, she also tweeted that she was on the sleep aid drug Ambien at the time of the tweet. There's been a lot of backlash from Hollywood celebrities like Paula Newman, star of HBO's Barry. She said she supports ABC and is glad the company stood up against Barr and her comments.
We're in a very curious time right now, and it's up to all people of character to stand up and say that's not okay. And I'm glad ABC took the opportunity to say, this isn't who we are, this isn't who we choose to be, and that's not okay.
Barr was also dropped from her talent agency, ICM Partners, Dave.
Tanya, President Trump held a rally in Nashville last night, again bringing up what he calls Spygate.
So how do you like the fact they had people infiltrating our campaign? Can you imagine?
Democrats dispute that, and now so does Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy, who got a classified briefing last week on the FBI's Russia meddling probe.
I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do when they got the information they got, and that it has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
The president also again at that rally pledged to build a border wall in Mexico and pay for it.
Rapid response from the Mexican president, Enrique Peña Nieto, tweeting, President @real Donald Trump. No, Mexico will never pay for a wall. Not now, not ever. Sincerely, Mexico.
Nobles, that's Fox's Ed Henry. Noblesville West Middle School will reopen this morning in Indiana, 5 days after a shooting that wounded a 13-year-old girl and a teacher who had tackled a student gunman. A few hundred people are in shelters in McDowell County, North Carolina, after a landslide on the side of a dam at a lake, prompting evacuations after midnight. This is Fox News. Fair and balanced.
68 degrees in Chicago at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man is dead following a shooting and a crash in downtown Chicago. Police say the victim was driving early this morning in the South Loop near Polk and Clark when another vehicle pulled up and someone inside fired shots. The victim's vehicle then crashed before he was pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. There have been no arrests in that case. Authorities this morning revealing more information about a murder-suicide last week in Winfield. Carl Klinkenbeard and his parents, Clyde and Nancy, were found dead inside of their home. Multiple injuries were the cause, according to the examination, caused by a sharp-edged object. Investigators believe Carl attacked and killed his parents, then took his own life after learning the parents were ready to kick him out of the home. The son had a long history of mental illness and drug abuse. No one hurt after an explosion overnight damaged a home in Brookfield. The blast happened at an unoccupied home in the 3900 block of Prairie Avenue. A wall was blown out on both sides of the home. A small fire broke out in that yard. Investigators are blaming some type of natural gas. Still traces of the bacteria that caused Legionnaire's disease at a Quincy veterans home. The CDC released its latest report yesterday, saying inspectors found one sample of Legionella in a pipe in a shower room. Illinois has been battling Legionnaires at that home since 2015. Governor Rauner says he's instituting a new way to determine which roads and bridges will be repaired and in what order. AM 560's David Stewart has details.
Governor Rauner went to Peoria to announce the state's new 4-year infrastructure plan. He said the $11 billion will be used to keep roads and bridges from getting to the point where repairs become an emergency. He says the projects will be evaluated on their potential to enhance job creation.
The reality is we've got to invest in our assets on a smart basis, on an ongoing basis, to make sure they're well maintained, and that actually saves money in the long run, and we get longer effective lives out of our roads and bridges.
The election year announcement is a stark contrast to last year when budget problems forced road repair projects to be halted. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
Cubs over the Pirates 8-6 in Pittsburgh. Last night, Indians powered past the White Sox 7-3 in Cleveland. The news service of Napa this month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Avalanche AC recharge kits are on sale for just $39.99, plus a $15 prepaid Visa card by mail. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. 7:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder can't make sense of the Russia investigation.
James Clapper goes on The View and says the reason the FBI planted a spy in the Trump campaign was to protect his campaign. What? Don't you pick up the phone and call Trump and say, hey, guess what? Some Russians are trying to infiltrate your campaign. Don't you do that? Blows my mind.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
A lot of people have life insurance through work. It's a great short-term benefit, but is it enough? A lot of those policies only cover a year's salary. Not enough to pay off mortgages or send kids to college, the things life insurance is meant for. That's where SelectQuote comes in. SelectQuote is your personal life insurance guide. They get multiple quotes to find you the best price from the highly rated companies they represent. John is 36 and in excellent health. He got a $500,000 policy for under $20 a month. Life insurance is about peace of mind, not a false sense of security. Which are you getting?
Call SelectQuote now at 1-800-881-4343. That's 1-800-881-4343. Or get started at SelectQuote.com. 1-800-881-4343. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
One of the least glamorous pieces of the puzzle in a construction or home improvement project is getting rid of the waste. It's definitely the last thing contractors or homeowners want to deal with, but it's a necessity. Getting affordable dumpster service quickly to a construction site can be difficult, but it doesn't have to be. For hassle-free dumpster service, contact Midwest Companies. They're focused on dumpster services that will help keep your project safe, clean, and on schedule. Midwest Companies takes care of contractors in need of a dumpster that's strong enough for heavy material and the homeowner doing a home improvement project, garage, basement foreclosure, or estate clean-out. For a company that's built a great reputation with local contractors and residents by providing fast, efficient dumpster service at a competitive price, consult with Midwest Companies for a no hidden fee quote. For new customers and a limited time, get $50 off your first service. Midwest Companies. Online at mwcompanies.com. mwcompanies.com.
7:07. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. Downtown Chicago River North, emergency responders are in the area around State Street at Kinsey, just north of the Chicago River, due to an active situation there. Edens Expressway has inbound delays Peterson to the junction. It's 24 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. Kennedy running 39 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 18 from Montrose, 15 on the Express. Outbound 15 minutes to Montrose, 30 to the airport. Eisenhower, 55 minutes, 390 to downtown, 38 from Manheim. Outbound 40 minutes to 390. But I-55 delays start around Weber. And the Stevenson is running 50 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 48. Bryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 27 minutes, 90 to the Murray Bishop Ford 40. Northbound Tri-States, though, 159th to I-57 with a crash in the right lane. Then jammed 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound Veterans Memorial, slow Findlay to St. Charles. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, some rain from Tropical Rainstorm Alberto, high 79. Periods of rain this evening, otherwise tonight, mostly cloudy and humid, low 68. Hot day tomorrow with partial sunshine, high 91. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Getting reports this morning from Peoria, 3.2 inches of rainfall there with some flood warnings going up in and around Peoria. 71 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Trump in Nashville for big rally yesterday, in which he trotted out some of the classics on immigration and
Oh, yeah, we're going to build the wall, and Mexico's going to pay for it.
Impersonations of Pagliacci and the like. But you got to update the act because of new information on the ground, like the infiltrator.
So how do you like the fact they had people infiltrating our campaign? Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine people infiltrating our campaign? Is there anybody in this big, beautiful arena right now that's infiltrating our campaign.
Bob.
Would you please raise your hand?
And then Bob Corker.
That would
raises
take
his hand.
courage, huh? Now, look, you take a look at what's going on. Never in the history of our country has something taken place like took place during this election.
All right, so that's Trump on the infiltrator. Of course, he's talking about Stefan Halper, who's the one infiltrator, asset, spy, source, however you want to term it.
Informant. We've heard it all.
The one that we know so far. Now, Trey Gowdy was asked about the same infiltrator by Martha McCallum yesterday. And do we have Trey Gowdy? Oh, yeah, Gowdy here. And he had this to say.
Chris Wray and Rod Rosenstein have at least made it clear to us Donald Trump was never the target of the investigation. He's not the current target of the investigation. Now, keep in mind, that can all change depending on what a witness says. But as of now, I think Chris Wray and Rod Rosenstein are stunned whenever people think Trump is the target of their investigation. I'll leave it up to them how to brief the president or how to brief his lawyers.
Was that point of view that you're talking about right now, was that strengthened when you went into this briefing last week?
Yes, I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do when they got the information they got, and that it has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
So can we reconcile the statement by Trump and the statement by Gowdy? One, we're not talking about Christopher Wray's FBI. We're talking about Jim Comey's at the time. Number two, the idea that Trump was not then and is not now the target of the investigation. Does anybody believe, I mean, with all due respect to Trey Gowdy, does anybody believe that Bob Mueller's target in the special counsel investigation is not President Trump? Does anyone believe, as Amy McCarthy has been writing about for months and months on end at National Review, that this isn't about getting to impeachment for Trump? For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Roger Kimball, who's the editor of The New Criterion and a columnist for PJ Media. He's got a recent piece on this topic we need to discuss. Roger, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Yes, my pleasure.
So what about the statements from Trump, which the one at the rally yesterday, not inconsistent with what he's been saying, and then what Trey Gowdy had to say?
Well, as much as I admire Trey Gowdy, I have to say that I've been somewhat puzzled by his attitude toward aspects of this. I'm not sure whether to call it an investigation or circus or cover-up, whatever it is that Robert Mueller is conducting. I noted early on that he kept reiterating what a great guy Robert Mueller was, a straight arrow, and we have to let him, do his job. But the more I looked into Mueller, the less I believed it. And you were asking your audience just now whether anyone could really believe that this extraordinarily complex, confusing, open-ended investigation could have any other end in view than the removal of the president. And it is true that people have demonstrated enormous reserves of credulity, and I suppose there's someone out there who could believe otherwise. But I think for most Americans, it's quite clear that what we see in this circus is an effort by our intelligence services and their masters in the deep state to engage in, first of all, a cover-up of their own wrongdoing, with the ultimate aim, as you suggest, of providing a pretext for the impeachment of the president.
Well,
I don't think there's any question about that.
Well, so Gowdy denies Trump's conspiracy. Should President Trump come forward and say, just tell America the truth, that maybe it wasn't a spy planted, or is that fake news?
Well, I don't quite understand the motivation of Mr. Gowdy, except that it has been my observation that people who has been part of this process, as Mr. Gowdy was, he's a former prosecutor, have a great allegiance to the institution. So you find people who are commenting on this, and they are loath to believe that an institution of which they were a part, which they served faithfully, could be quite so corrupt, because all the people they know were not corrupt.
Although
so I think that is part of this story anyway. But it's good.
No, I was just going to say, but it is interesting because Gowdy has been reticent to criticize Mueller. You're right; he's shown great deference to Mueller, but not so for some of the other actors in this drama, the James Clappers and the John Brennans of the world. So. Yes. Gowdy also has sort of explained, okay, so if you think that Brennan and Clapper and perhaps others have been less than forthright, acted less than honorably, he's been concerned about unmasking that went on by Samantha Power, by Susan Rice. So, it's kind of like everybody around this one institution you want to protect, you find problems with, but somehow that institution is inviolate and hasn't been corrupted by all of these other engaged senior level officials at the other agencies.
Yes, I personally, I find my credulity strained by that proposition. It seems to me that what we have here is, at the end of the day, it is an effort to cover up what happened with Hillary's emails and her misuse of classified information, but also what began as an effort to create what Mr. Strzok called an insurance policy against the unlikely contingency that Donald Trump should be elected, mutated after he was elected into an effort to undermine his presidency. And I mean, it really is quite extraordinary if you look at the indictments that Robert Mueller has handed down. They have nothing to do. None of them have anything to do with collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians. That is what this investigation was supposed to be about. At least that's what we were told it was about. But it has nothing to do with that. Now, let's stipulate that, of course, the Russians in this election, as in every other election for decades, have endeavored to interfere and cause mischief in our election. We do the same thing to the elections of other countries. We were right there in Israel's election. We didn't want Netanyahu to win, and we, paid plenty of money to try to assure that he wouldn't. But that is not the issue here. Yes, Russians they took out some Facebook ads, they did some other things, but it had nothing to do with the Trump campaign. It was all about trying to create this insurance policy to be sure that Donald Trump would not be elected. And then when he was elected, to undermine his presidency. And the mobilization of the intelligence services of his country and the coercive power of its police services and the institution of the FBI on the part of one administration against another administration is something that should give every American pause. This is, in my view, it's the biggest political scandal in the history of the country. It dwarfs Watergate.
Okay, Marcia, you're on board with the president in terms of that assessment. I wanted to ask you, because the new Criterion does so much, offers so much content on culture, I wanted to get your take on this interview over the weekend in the Wall Street Journal of James Davison Hunter, the academic who's kind of credited with coming up with the kind of culture wars paradigm for what's been happening in this country since at least the mid-1980s, predates that, but his version of what was happening. And he suggests that reason and science aren't particularly better suited than fundamentalist religion from a bygone era to provide a stable basis for morality, for the moral order, even in the face of secularization, because it essentially throws us back on ourselves. You have your truth and I have mine. And I wonder if that is playing out in like this most recent saga, the Roseanne Barr tweets, where you have some arguing, this is a contest between conservatives and liberals in this divided country to see who can one-up the other when it comes to outrage for the purposes of expunging content or a behavior they don't like, and that's not taking us to a productive place.
Yeah. Well, let's stipulate that Roseanne Barr's tweet was in very bad taste.
So stipulated.
There's a lot of bad taste around.
Yes.
And why is it okay for Bill Maher, as someone pointed out, to assert that Donald Trump was the spawn of an orangutan and his mother? That's okay, but it's not okay for Roseanne Barr to emit her tweet about Valerie Jarrett. Sure, it's in very bad taste, but bad taste should not, in my view, be illegal. But put that to one side. I think that what we are seeing now in this country is the elevation of a pseudo concept of diversity fueled by an intolerant identity politics. What it has done is it has ripped the floor of common values out of this country to such an extent that people no longer feel that we're all in this together. Now, this is not the first time it's happened, but it's the velocity that modern communications provide to these ideas makes it very toxic. I mean, the 1800 election between John Adams and Thomas Jefferson was virulent. People were calling everyone all sorts of names. Of course, there was the Civil War. We're right now on the 50th anniversary of 1968 and all of those outrages. So this is not, unprecedented. But what I think is new is the modality in which these controversies play themselves out. So that you have Roseanne Barr emitting a tweet at 10 a.m. and then all of a sudden you get this avalanche of outrage. Which, I mean, really, when you come right down to it, I mean, Roseanne is probably to be more pitied than anything. I mean, she's clearly a person with mental health issues, as they say. But leaving that to one side, I think that anyone who has the future of this country at heart should start to think about what it is we can do to pull people together and to return perhaps to the wisdom of people like James Madison when he warned about the destructive potential in hyper partisanship, what he called faction, and what we can do to overcome those factions. I think that the president, I think in his commencement address at Annapolis, said that America's done apologizing for itself. I think that's a hopeful sign. We should recognize and celebrate those things that make this a great country, including the freedom we have to engage in robust debate and dissent.
He is Roger Kimball, editor of The New Criterion and columnist for PJ Media. His most recent column, For Your Eyes Only, A Short History of Democrat Spy Collusion. Roger, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
On AM 560, The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Opportunity Project, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
Hey, got a great night's sleep last night, all thanks to MyPillow, and now they have the MyPillow mattress topper, which is 30% off for the month of May. Plus, if you order one online with the promo code Amy, we'll throw in 2 standard MyPillows with your mattress topper purchase, absolutely free. You heard it right, 2 standard MyPillows free and 30% off that amazing mattress topper. You get the same 10-year warranty on your mattress topper, 60-day money-back guarantee if you don't like it. So go online now and grab this great deal. Other offers include 30% off pet beds, which I love because a lot of people, their pet beds get dirty and they just throw them away. You can just throw yours in the washer and dryer, and Bunky's happy. There's sheets that I love and much, much more. Find it all at MyPillow.com. Type Amy, A-M-Y, in that promo code to get these great offers. Again, MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that use Balance of Nature as well.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. I take Balance of Nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Your local 1-hour heating and air conditioning knows how miserable it feels when your AC goes out. You want it fixed fast, fixed right, and get a fast quote. Unlike some companies, we don't give you a quote until we actually see what the problem is. Then we'll give you our straightforward price and always stand by our work. Right now, get savings on any AC repair. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1-HOUR.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, a crashing economy. Are you ready? At best, your local stores have a 3-day supply of food. Will your family have to fight over what's left? Be wise and be ready with 25-year shelf life Wise Food Storage. Try it free. Order a no-obligation free sample meal, and for a limited time, get a 10% discount and free shipping on all orders. Call for your free sample now. 800-787-1010. 800-787-1010.
Your business's finances are very personal. It's the determining factor on the course you'll take for your family and your employees. But what happens when you're reaching a phase when you need advice? You want to turn to an expert, but who can you trust? Look for someone who is both knowledgeable and involved in the community, like Fred O'Connor of Northwestern Mutual. Fred has worked from Wall Street to Europe in the financial industry, but his calling as an engaged civic leader speaks to the earnest trust Fred has gained over his 30 years serving businesses and the families that run them. Fred serves on the board of the 100 Club of Chicago, the Big Shoulders Fund, and the Irish Fellowship Club. Fred can help you manage risk and plan for your goals, such as rewarding key people and strategies for business exit. Visit FredO'Connor.com to learn more about Fred's services and how he can take your business to the next level. That's FredO'Connor.com. Northwestern Mutual is the marketing name for the Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Fred O'Connor is an insurance agent of NM.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, Mike Scott alerted me to this story in the Sun-Times about Bridget Gaynor, who's Cook County Commissioner. She's thinking about running for mayor.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, nice flacking for Tiny Dancer by the AFL-CIO Times. This story's a joke. It's about how she has racked up over the last 5 years something like $16,000 in parking, red light, speeding camera tickets in the city. But she's paid them.
Right. I mean, if you,
so what?
I've paid thousands myself here. I mean, I have a stack of red light violations and parking tickets and things like that. The average person probably gives the city $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah, it's
and that's because now they're getting you if you even go 5 miles over the speed
Well,
limit.
but the reporting.
But the reporting. No, that's a hack job. That's what that is.
So she got tickets and she paid them.
Oh my gosh, that's the headline. We have to bash her because she's nipping at Tiny Dancer's heels.
I mean, Iowa Hawk tweeted in response to me tweeting this story. Yeah, right. That's really going to alienate her from the average Chicago voter, isn't it? Who's gotten blitzed by these backdoor taxes, which is what they are. I mean, I'm just glad to learn out I'm not the league leader that I thought I was in the city.
Did they even try to reach out to her for a response?
Yeah, they did, and
She's like, I paid them.
Right.
What's the big deal?
And then they do like this comparison of who, how many tickets did Lori Lightfoot have, and how many tickets. Who cares? Hey, here's an idea. John Cullerton and his financial interests. The Senate president, Ed Burke, Mike Madigan. Don't do any investigative reporting on the actual power brokers and sludge peddlers in this city and state. Go after a Cook County commissioner paying the parking and red light camera ticket she gets. What a joke. Big government press corps, Chicago.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Remember Obamacare? Yeah, it's still with us, and states are doing more to make it difficult to ever extract ourselves. We're going to discuss with Steve Moore at 7:37.
And ABC drops Roseanne Barr, but did you know that one of her executive producers compared President Trump to an ape-like creature? We'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
31 degrees, clouds, rain, especially heavy rain to the south and west of the Chicago area. Mandatory evacuations because of heavy rain in effect for residents below Lake Tahoma in McDowell County, North Carolina. That's in the western part of that state. A major dam is in imminent failure there. President Trump working for a big Republican turnout for November's midterm elections at a campaign rally in Nashville last night. The president blasted Democrats for blocking his administration's efforts on border security, health care, and tax reform.
So we need more Republicans. We're going to get them. We're going to get the wall done anyway. Mexico, I don't want to cause a problem. I don't want to cause. But in the end, Mexico's going to pay for the wall.
In the governor's race, the president also gave a strong endorsement to Republican Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn. This morning, the death toll from Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico reportedly much higher than the official tally from that territory. The new Harvard University study claimed there were 5,000 deaths in Puerto Rico that wouldn't have happened under normal conditions. The world's largest diamond miner is now selling man-made diamonds. De Beers announcing this week it will start a new jewelry brand featuring diamonds produced in the lab. The brand is called Lightbox, and synthetic diamonds will be a fraction of the prices of diamonds mined from the earth. Roseanne Barr blaming Ambien for a racially tinged tweet that she made this week. Got her hit show canceled by ABC and reruns pulled from cable. A man is dead following a shooting and crash in downtown Chicago. The victim driving early this morning in the South Loop near Polk and Clark when someone pulled up and fired shots. No one hurt after an explosion levels a home in Brookfield. It happened last night in an unoccupied home in the 3900 block of Prairie Avenue. And Drew Brees, pretty good dude, won an auction for John Wooden's 1930s-era Purdue basketball jersey. The star quarterback says, I'm not going to keep it. Goes back to the alma mater. $264,000 he paid for the jersey this month. He kept the winning bid quiet until he could present it to Purdue officials this week. Wooden, of course, is better known for his winning 10 national basketball titles as coach at UCLA. Cubs over the Pirates 8-6. White Sox fall to the Indians 7-3 at Progressive Field. At 7:34, we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says, put up or shut up.
People who aren't suffering from Trump derangement syndrome are saying, show us the money, show us the collusion, because that was the whole basis for this investigation. The whole special counsel is based on that. It wasn't Paul Manafort's bank deals. All of that stuff is totally incidental and separate from the Russian collusion investigation.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Get your truly free credit score and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma. Download the Credit Karma app today. Credit Karma. get knowing.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Kevin Bastuga, co-founder of Signature Bank. If you get the feeling your deposits don't matter to your bank, then maybe you're not with the right bank. At Signature Bank, your deposits matter to us as much as your business loans. Signature provides unmatched banking expertise, custom financial solutions, and the industry's best technology to closely held Chicagoland businesses. Whether your business is looking for a deposit relationship or needs a ready source for financing, Signature Bank is the right bank for you. Call us today to see how Signature Bank can help your business grow and thrive.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
7:36. Let's get an update on the roads and the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Northbound Tri-State, it's heavy from 159th to I-57 after a crash. It is jammed. Southwest Highway to 47th, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound Veterans Memorial, we see delays from I-55 most of the way to St. Charles. After the Army Trail toll to 290. It's now heavy on the eastbound Reagan Tollway 83 to the Tri-State. Eden's 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. Kennedy, 45 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 42. The Eisenhower's an hour and 7 minutes, 390 to the Circle. 45 minutes from Manheim, outbound 42 minutes, 390. Stevenson, an hour and 2 minutes, 355 to the Drive. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic Service of Napa this month, participating Napa Auto Parts stores, a 3-pack of Peak microfiber cloth for just $1.99. Plus, with each purchase, Napa will make a donation to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. That's Napa know-how while supplies last. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, some rain, high 79 today, warm and humid 70 overnight. The news is also a service of Accountemps. Finding highly skilled accounting and finance pros can be a challenge. Accountemps can help. With Accountemps' extensive network of accounting and finance contractors, you can be sure to find the right person for your exact hiring needs. Visit Accountemps.com to learn more. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. 71 at O'Hare, 64 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 8. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Build business with Chamber 630, one of the largest business organizations in DuPage County. Marketing your business and connecting clients is their priority. Visit chamber630.com or call 630-968-4050 to join today.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Morning, Dan and Amy, and ready for this story?
Yes.
Mike Maru is a 37-year-old orthodontist in Draper, Utah. He made a big investment in his education. It's not cheap to go to dental school, medical school, and become an orthodontist, start a practice.
A lot of money.
As of Thursday of last week, he owed $1.06 million in student loans.
Okay, see, now Peyton wants to be an orthodontist. Now I'm rethinking that. There's something wrong? Did they calculate the interest rates wrong?
Mr. Maru pays $1,589 a month, not enough to cover the interest. So his debt from 7 years at USC grows by $130 a day. In 2 decades, his loan balance will be $2 million. The Wall Street Journal reporting, due to escalating tuition and easy credit, the U.S. has now 101 people who owe at least $1 million in federal student loans, according to the Education Department. 5 years ago, it was only 14 people.
And now how many? I'm sorry, you said 100?
101. The typical student borrower owes $17,000. The number of those who owe at least $100,000 has risen to around 2.5 million, which is nearly 6% of the borrowing pool. That's a lot of scratch, particularly if you're not going to a professional school with the ability to start a practice like a dental practice, orthodonty, medical, whatever, where you have the ability to actually recoup the investment provider return. That's Brian Kaplan's book about abolishing higher ed or walking away from it.
Do you remember the day you paid off your student loans?
Yeah.
It was a big day. Like, that was cause for celebration.
Yeah. When is that day going to come for you?
Hey, I paid it off when I finally got back to Chicago. It took,
okay.
as a reporter, and my payments were, like, I could double my payments. And I looked at it, like, I could just pay this thing off.
That's back when you were flush.
That's when Jonas Vizzuto was on maternity leave. I was making money, man.
Yeah.
Worked 42 days straight. Didn't care. It's great. Biggest paycheck of my life. But go on with your story.
Well, Salon.com picks up this story. I mean, this is great. Salon.com, this left-wing rag, supported, more student loans and student loan forgiveness and all of the government subsidies that drive up the cost of higher education. And so this becomes a vicious cycle. Now they're hand-wringing because Trump is president. The nation's student debt burden has soared to $1.41 trillion. It's increased $110 billion since Trump took office. The number of student debtors has continued to grow as well to 45 million Americans. This would be, people are in arrears on their student loans, which is up 2 million since Trump's inauguration. So they've supported all the policies that got us here, that got Maru $1 million in student loans. And now the guy who's been the president for the last 60 months, it's all his fault. I thought when I read this story about somebody with $1 million in student loans, his last name was going to be Moore, but I'm thankful for Steve that it's not. Steve Moore, chief economist for CNN, Wall Street Journal columnist, joins us now. Steve, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Boy, that guy's going to have to put on a lot of braces to make up for that $1 million.
There's no question.
He's got braces on every resident of the state of Illinois.
There's no question. He's going to have to do all the Romneys. There's no question. What about that, though, is student debt, the increasing number of people that are in arrears, the overall total debt. Is this a bubble that we should be concerned about?
Well, look, the biggest scam in America, the biggest financial scam by an order of magnitude is the amount of money that our colleges and universities are charging our families. It is an incredible outrage. And I'll tell you, you guys know I went to the University of Illinois and Champaign-Urbana back in, I graduated in 1982. And my tuition back then was, I believe, a little less than $1,000 a semester. 30 years later, not $1,000 a semester, $10,000 a semester. I mean, what's going on here? My son went to Northwestern. All in, it's almost $70,000 a year now. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can just write your kids a check for $200,000 and let them play computer games for 4 years, and they'll be better off, and they'll have some money left over. So it is outrageous. We have to start looking under the hood and look at how these universities are spending the money. And by the way, there are literally dozens, if not scores, of universities, including Northwestern, Duke, Princeton, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, that have endowments that are so large they could provide free tuition to every kid who goes to that school now until forever, and they still wouldn't run out of money. And yet they're still charging $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. And then they go to the taxpayers and they want loans, they want grants, they want scholarship money, all of this stuff. It's totally outrageous.
Speaking of taxes, were you in a fraternity at U of I?
They wouldn't let me in.
Well,
but,
too cool.
I'm not a joiner. I'm a libertarian. I do what I want.
Well, I just bring that up because sororities and fraternities are facing these massive Illinois property tax bills that are, they went from $13,000 to $71,000, and they have to pass that on to the pledges and to the members. And it's ridiculous, this increase in property taxes in Illinois.
Well, you brought up fraternities, sororities, all this stuff. I mean, let's face it. College today is a 4-year party. I mean, that's where if you want just an education, you just go online and you can get a University of Illinois education for 1/20th of the cost by just taking the courses online. And in fact, that's why I think in the end, Dan and Amy, this jig is up on these university professors who make $250,000 a year and teach 4 hours a semester. It's just ridiculous how much these people are paid, how much of the quote cost of education goes to these kind of fringe benefits that have nothing to do with what you learn in the classroom. So I just think it's time that we have a revolt among taxpayers about how much universities, especially the public schools. I mean, you saw what happened, and you guys know the story of College of DuPage, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the
I
wines.
mean,
Yes,
it
right.
was a
we
complete
reported
scandal. All
on it.
those
Yeah.
guys should have been in jail,
Right,
I
right.
mean, talk about a misappropriation of funds. They were paying each other, $500,000 a year. They weren't doing anything. They were giving a crappy education to these kids, and then we say, the problem is we're just not paying these professors, and we're not paying these administrators enough money. You've got my blood boiling today. Thanks a lot.
Well, I mean, and
Yeah.
and look, your alma mater, it's the second highest in-state tuition in the Big Ten, behind only Penn State. What's happened in Illinois? We have our state schools 20 to 50% higher than their conference peers in neighboring states. And why? Why? Because we provide at the state level, despite the state being functionally bankrupt, we provide twice the national average in per pupil state support to our universities because they're inviolate. They cannot be touched. We always need to keep funding and funding and funding. It's the same conversation we have about K through 12.
And the worst thing is you're paying all that money, and they've got crappy football and basketball teams. And what are you paying for them? But here's a serious point. I mean, you want to solve this crisis of exploding tuition costs. There's a very, very simple solution to this. And you guys are going to probably faint, or half the people driving to work are going to faint when I say this. How about the kids, these 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-olds, work while they're in college?
No.
So they actually pay their own tuition. You want to see those tuitions come down, by half, when the kids are actually paying for the education themselves. There's a great school. Do you know the story of College of the Ozarks?
No.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead. Tell it.
Dan probably does, because he probably read my article about this in the Wall Street Journal about 6 or 7 years ago. I went out there. It's in the middle of Ozarks. Most of these kids, if they're first-generation college kids, their parents and grandparents never went to college. Some of the greatest kids I ever met. Now, Amy, since you don't know the story, guess what the tuition is at the College of the Ozarks?
I've 10,000 a year. Zero?
Zero. You know why? Because every kid on campus works 15 to 20 hours a week paying for their education. What a concept that they should actually have to pay for it. And I got to tell you, these were some of the best kids I've ever met, because you know what? If you have to work for it yourself, you're going to put a lot of value in that education. Make sure you're getting your money's worth.
Well, and just sticking on other models at higher ed, even at a state school, look at what Mitch Daniels has done at Purdue with like the early graduation scholarships and those essentially venture capital scholarships where you marry a student, not literally, you know what I'm saying, combine a student with a benefactor, and there's an investment in the student for a return on that investment once that student gets out of college, right?
I like it, except I don't know if I would invest in any of these millennials.
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother
No, they're
matter.
not all terrible. But, this is the problem. All these kids, and we've turned these kids into they think that everything is free, right? So they just want it all. College tuition should be free. This is Bernie Sanders, folks. If you think a college is expensive today, wait until Bernie Sanders makes it free.
Yes.
Then these tuitions will be $100,000 a year. There will be no cost control whatsoever. And it's just a giant scam. The average tenured professor in America teaches 4 hours a week.
Wow.
And they make $200,000 a year.
Well, Amy, you should go back and teach at Iowa. Hey, Steve, let me ask you another question. A good piece in the Washington Examiner about Obamacare. And, since the opportunity was missed to really begin the rollback, you have states further ensconcing Obamacare in their way they provide health care, and it's going to be that much more difficult to extract. And pregnancy to trigger special enrollment periods in Connecticut, extending Medicaid to people residing in the state illegally. That's California. New Jersey looking at bringing back Obamacare's penalty on the uninsured, limiting short-term health care, allowing more people to enroll in Medicaid. We've got a governor here and General Assembly that's increasing premiums for private insurance to continue to prop up Obamacare's Medicaid expansion in Illinois. So is this here to stay, and there's just nothing we can do about it except suffer?
That's a good question. I think we're at a crossroads in this country. We're not quite there, but we're close to it. I think the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to have to make a national decision, Dan, and that is, do we go with Bernie Sanders care, where you basically have, government-run the healthcare industry, or do we move to the private sector? I mean, it's interesting that you've crossed from education in this discussion to healthcare, because guess what? Two industries in America have the most exploding costs:
education and healthcare.
education and healthcare. I mean, I've said this 10 times on your show over the last couple of years, but it's interesting, isn't it? Those are the two industries where the people who receive the service are don't pay for it, and it's an equation for exploding care. So my solution to this is give families choice. If people want Obamacare, they should have it, but you should allow people to opt out of Obamacare and purchase any kind of health insurance they want. And by the way, for most young people listening to this show, if you're between the ages of 25 and 40, you can get a health insurance package that's about half as expensive as Obamacare. So you're getting ripped off if you're a young person and you think Obamacare is such a wonderful thing, because you could get a much cheaper policy if you could just go out and shop around.
He is Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, chief economist for CNN. Steve, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, have a great week.
You too. Take care.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that not only recommend it, but use Balance of Nature as well.
In my practice, I was getting to the point where I couldn't have the strength to see that many patients anymore. I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. It really affected my breathing and the strength that I had. And I was introduced to the fruits and veggies. Just slowly, my strength started to come back. And it was because of the good nutrition. I can't say enough good for Balance of Nature and what it's done for me. I recommend it to everybody.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Hey, if you didn't get a spot in our upcoming golf outing to benefit the 100 Club of Chicago, we have some news for you. A couple of slots have opened up, which means you can still sign up your foursome to play with us on Thursday, June 14th at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. We're raising money for the 100 Club of Chicago. Their mission is to provide financial and educational assistance to the families of fallen first responders, police officers, EMTs, Chicago firefighters. And in particular, yesterday they went to Juan Bucio's family's home to offer their support and financial support for the fallen firefighter who leaves behind a 9- and 7-year-old son. So a portion of the proceeds from our outing will benefit this great organization. And when you buy a foursome for $1,196, you can become a business benefactor, which means AM 560 will give you 25 one-minute commercials that will air right here on this station. It's a $3,000 deal for just $11.96. You'll reach AM 560's audience of decision makers, and at the same time, you'll be helping that great organization, the 100 Club of Chicago. It's a win-win. Call Ann Jeanette at 847-472-8951. Again, that phone number, 847-472-8951. Enjoy a great day of golf, support a great charity, and reach new customers when you become a business benefactor. 847-472-8951.
Hey guys, Ken here from the Business Accelerator podcast, Today's Growth. If you had to choose a vehicle to take you up the rocky side of a mountain, would you choose a Ferrari or a Jeep? The Ferrari's faster, cooler, maybe even sexier, but if you have to get to the top, the Jeep's a better bet. I think we can agree getting to the top is not about the driver, it's the vehicle. Have you noticed people often pick their financial vehicle like they pick their cars? Washington Post shared that only 1 out of 4 people choose a job that uses their college degree. Why? Simple. Something more immediate, maybe cooler, maybe even sexier came along first. Shouldn't the main deciding factors for revenue generation be production or output? Should the cool factor have any weight in choosing someone's income? If getting to the top of the financial mountain is mission critical for you, why not add a few Jeeps to your garage? Could your household or business use an additional revenue model that makes it to the top every time? If so, you have to see the Jeeps lined up at IncomeStore.com. That's IncomeStore.com.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. How many more shootings before we do something? That is, how many more good guys with guns have to stop bad guys with guns before we stop stigmatizing inanimate objects? The high school resource officer in Dixon, Illinois, and the Good Samaritan outside the restaurant in Oklahoma City aren't inanimate objects or three-letter acronyms, so they are of minor passing interest to the D.C. press corps. While well-intentioned Americans want to hear ideas about improving public safety, Champagne socialists are interested only in using people's fears against them to leverage more power over them. This fact was laid bare in a recently released email exchange between Obama consiglieres Rahm Emanuel and Arnie Duncan 2 days after the Sandy Hook massacre. In the exchange, Rahm tells Duncan, go for vote this week ASAP before it fades. Tap people's emotion. Make it simple. Assault weapons. The dizzying intellect that is Arnie Duncan replied, yup. Thanks. You understand now? You understand how little the political royals think of you and that they care for you even less than that? They are as cavalier with your life as they are craven in using the lives of 20 dead children to manipulate you. You might consider this when you're deciding how much of your life to turn over to them. Gentlemen, when it comes to your daily health and quality of life, there are numbers every man needs to know, including our testosterone number. Hi, Dan Proft here. I personally recommend choosing my friends at Low T Center. That's where I got my levels tested. These guys are great. They make it quick and easy. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause lack of motivation and drive. It can raise your cholesterol levels, cause weight gain, and loss of muscle mass. If you've been experiencing any of these symptoms, it's time to get your levels checked. At Low T Center, they accept most health insurance and will even verify it for you. Low T Center's physicians specialize in treating low T in men. It's been their specialty for many years. They know men's health, and they're reinventing men's health care. When it comes to your health and daily quality of life, do what I did. Get your numbers checked. You owe it to yourself. Call 312-239-3427. Tell them Dan Proft sent you. The number 312-239-3427. Call 312-239-3427 or go to lowtcenter.com for more information. That website again, lowtcenter.com.
Do you want your basement to be dry most of the time? If so, Permaseal is not the company for you. At Permaseal, we believe your basement should be dry all the time, no matter how hard it rains. Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. I hear story after story of homeowners who say their basement only leaks when it rains. Well, you don't worry about your living room or bedroom getting wet when it rains, and you should feel the same way about your basement. Just call 800-421-SEAL. We offer a free estimate, no haggle pricing, and a price assurance guarantee, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best value. Your basement is already dry most of the time, but if you want your basement dry all the time, you know who to call. 800-421-SEAL. Permaseal has earned an A+ rating from the BBB and has received their 2016 Torch Award for Marketplace Ethics. That's 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Your best for being better, Permaseal.
Squirrely is a hard-working squirrel that enjoys life to the fullest, eager to take on new challenges and experiences alongside Starlet, his soulmate, and the love of his life. Read Squirrely the Squirrel and Starlet and see the world through the eyes of a newborn squirrel. You'll delight in the antics of Squirrely, Starlet, and their little family. A heartwarming adventure that teaches family values. Beautifully illustrated, a great storytime read. Squirrely the Squirrel and Starlet from Larry Friend. Available now at litfirepublishing.com. You will fall in love with Icy the Iceberg, the new, highly original children's book from Larry Friend. Follow Icy on his incredible journey, beginning his life as a sparkling snowflake and emerging as a beautiful blue floating iceberg. Icy the Iceberg is a joy for parents and kids alike. Experience together the fun creatures Icy encounters along his journey from snowflake to iceberg and back to snowflake. Kids will learn the complexities of the water cycle in a way they'll really enjoy. Icy the Iceberg, available now at litfirepublishing.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, Amy, you know how we've been trying to help the Obamas with some ideas for their Netflix shows that they're going to be producing? So part of this is putting together the team, right? You have to have the talent. Right. And I got a guy.
I got a guy.
Chief Content Officer at Netflix, Ted Sarandos, who was also an Obama bundler, who helped wire up this $50 million deal, reportedly, for the Obamas. Listen to this. He says...
Uh-oh.
Productions from the Obamas will not have a political slant.
Yeah, I know. They said that at the beginning. That's a joke.
Well, I mean, but that kind of comedy talent, you want him writing any comedy show that the Obamas consider producing.
Maybe they could pick up the Roseanne show on Netflix.
Ted Sarandos, yeah.
Produce it.
Yeah, recast it a little bit with Valerie Jarrett as the lead.
Yeah, she can get married to John Goodman. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Tom Friedman, the foreign policy expert impersonator, says that the worst Democrat is better than the best Republican come November. We'll ask Mike Braun, the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate in Indiana, if he agrees at 8:08.
And later, Ambien tweeting, is it a problem? But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
The CDC reports traces of Legionella bacteria at a Quincy veterans home. Some rain from Tropical Storm Alberto on the way. WIND, Chicago News Time.
She
8.
did something unforgivable. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Roseanne Barr tweeted about the tweet that got ABC to cancel her show. Widely derided as racist about former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett, who told MSNBC,
I think we have to turn it into a teaching moment. I'm fine. I'm worried about all the people out there who don't have a circle of friends and followers who come right to their defense.
Roseanne Barr also told people on Twitter not to defend her. She also wrote she sent her infamous tweet late at night while on Ambien. President Trump held a rally in Nashville last night, again claiming the FBI infiltrated his campaign in the Russia probe, which Democrats and Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy both say isn't true. The president also again pledged to build a border wall.
They're going to pay for the wall, and they're going to enjoy it, okay? They're going to enjoy it.
Well, Mexico's president tweeted right after they will never pay. All as the president campaigned for a Republican Senate candidate. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave stumping for GOP Senate hopeful Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee. President Trump went after her opponent, former Tennessee Governor Phil Bredesen.
He's a tool of Chuck Schumer and, of course, the MS-13 lover, Nancy Pelosi.
The Bredesen for Senate campaign released a statement saying the candidate is an independent thinker with a proven record of working with Democrats and Republicans. Dave?
Rachel, it's up to 71 homes destroyed on Hawaii's Big Island.
What I saw was an absolute ocean of lava.
An ocean with
waves in it, and wave after wave came in.
He's one of those forced to evacuate Kilauea's eruptions. Worry about a landslide at a dam in North Carolina prompted evacuations after midnight. A few hundred people are in shelters.
We don't expect a full dam breach or break, and there are emergency plans in place if that were to happen, but we're not expecting that.
Rochelle Bailey with McDowell County Emergency Management. Fox News. Fair and balanced.
Gray skies in Chicago. We have 72 degrees. At 8:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man dead following a shooting and crash in downtown Chicago. Police say the victim was driving early this morning near Polk and Clark in the South Loop when another vehicle pulled up and someone inside fired shots. Police tell us at this moment no arrests have been made. Chicago Fire Department remembering the diver who died this week while searching for a missing boater.
He was a great partner in the water. He was a great rescuer. I can't say enough about this man. As a father, as a family man, as a friend.
Chief Ron Dorniker called Juan Bucio a hero, adding that he was a great diver. Authorities still searching for the missing boater, identified as Alberto Lopez. A former Naperville man is suing after spending over 2 decades behind bars for the 1995 murder of his mother-in-law. William Amore was convicted of setting the fire that killed Marianne Maselli inside a Naperville apartment. He was acquitted during a February retrial. Anthony Rizzo sparked a 7th-inning rally. Cubs edged the Pirates 8-6 in Pittsburgh. 3 solo home runs for the Indians. They beat the White Sox 7-3. On the pitch, Fire hit the road facing the Philadelphia Union tonight. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, a service of Turnkey.pro, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, futures are higher this morning after yesterday's sell-off attributed to concerns about the situation in Italy and that country's possible eventual withdrawal from the Eurozone. Federal regulators are approving the merger of Monsanto with German company Bayer, the parent company of Bayer Aspirin. Bayer must sell its seed, herbicide, digital farming business, and some other assets. The CBS Viacom drama could wind up with the combined company being sold. The Wall Street Journal says major shareholder Shari Redstone and her family's company, National Amusements, countersued CBS yesterday. Redstone wants to re-merge CBS and Viacom. The complaint suggests the merger would be the first step toward a sale. The Dow was down 391 yesterday. NASDAQ lost 37, S&P down 31. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
It's 8:04, a check of traffic and weather on the way next. on AM 560.
On AM 560, The Answer. Your opinion counts. And we want to know how you feel about the news stories we're talking about each and every day. Make sure to vote in the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll at 560theanswer.com. Listen for today's poll question at 10:30 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 3:30 p.m. and hear the results each evening at 5:30. It's the M13 Graphics Opinion Express poll on 560theanswer.com.
A lot of people have life insurance through work. It's a great short-term benefit, but is it enough? A lot of those policies only cover a year's salary. Not enough to pay off mortgages or send kids to college, the things life insurance is meant for. That's where SelectQuote comes in. SelectQuote is your personal life insurance guide. They get multiple quotes to find you the best price from the highly rated companies they represent. John is 36 and in excellent health. He got a $500,000 policy for under $20 a month. Life insurance is about peace of mind, not a false sense of security. Which are you getting?
Call SelectQuote now at 1-800-881-4343. That's 1-800-881-4343. Or get started at SelectQuote.com. 1-800-881-4343. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
It is 8:06. Let's get a morning check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens is heavy outbound now with delays Montrose to Church Street. It's 36 minutes to get to Lake Cook. Inbound just 20. Kennedy, inbound delays start at Montrose. 43 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 33 from Montrose, but 43 in the express lanes. They're much heavier. Outbound 42 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Eisenhower, an hour and 2 minutes from 390 to downtown. 41 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 47, 390. Stevenson is an hour and 8 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 37 minutes. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Tri-State heavy from the Adams Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound Southwest Highway to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to the bridge. Reagan Tollway delays 83 to the Tri-State Veterans Royal. Northbound delays start at Fountain Road. Traffic service of Accountemps. You could use help closing your books and need additional staff. It's time to call Accountemps. They can provide you with bookkeepers and other accounting and finance professionals on a temporary or project basis and fast. Call today. Accountemps. Robert Half Company. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Tropical rains from Alberta will affect the area today. We'll have a high approaching 80. Periods of rain will continue into the evening. Otherwise, remaining mostly cloudy and humid through the night tonight with a low of 68. Partly sunny day tomorrow, high 91 and a low 66. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Now 76 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, Tom Friedman, longtime columnist for the New York Times, is a sort of pseudo-intellect that the D.C. press corps loves to elevate. And he was on with Morning Joe yesterday doing some of what he does, which is impersonate a foreign policy expert, and then also commenting on the greatest threat to Western civilization in our representative republic. Of course, it's not the Russians. It's not nuclear Iran or nuclear North Korea. It's the President of the United States. Here's a little preview of what you're going to be hearing from congressional Democrats, a version of, for the next 6 months. Tom Friedman on Morning Joe being interviewed by the equally dizzying intellect of Mika.
Look, these midterms are soon to be upon us. And I only have one piece of advice for people. You have to vote for a Democrat.
Yeah.
Because, and I say that as someone who's, I have a lot of very conservative leanings on a lot of issues. I'm from free trade, I'm, pro-globalization, pro-business. But the fact is, John, the worst Democrat running for Congress or the Senate today is better than the best Republican, because the best Republicans, except those who are tragically dying or retiring, simply will not stand up to this man.
Right.
And if you see the norms that he is violating, the way he is trashing some of our most cherished institutions, things like the FBI, the Justice Department, the spreading of conspiracy theories from the bully pulpit of the White House, that is a threat to the very fabric of our society and the very fabric of our democracy. So I'm approaching this election coming up unlike any other election. I don't care about, it's not for me about, I care about these issues, but for me it's not about gun control, it's not about abortion, it's not about high taxes or low taxes. It's about whether we can get a lever of power that can restrain this man for the next 2 years, because the man sitting in the Oval Office today is the greatest threat to our democracy.
Greatest threat to our democracy is President Trump needs to be restrained. That's the value proposition for Democrats in the fall. Stop Trump, impeach Trump. The worst Democrat is better than the best Republican. Let's see if a Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, the nominee in Indiana, Mike Braun, running against one of those worst Democrats, Joe Donnelly, agrees with that. Mike Braun, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
We've heard your commercials. Congratulations on your primary victory over two incumbent congressmen. No easy feat. What do you say to Tom Friedman's formulation about the worst Democrat being better than the best Republican because it's all about putting a governor, so to speak, on Trump?
Well, I think, that reaction to somebody that's kind of shaken the system like President Trump has is to be expected. I think Friedman comes from the class of being happy with how Washington has performed and behaved over the last 2-3 decades. And to me, it's kind of taken us down the road towards impending calamity when it comes to the fact that, we don't live within our means. We just don't do basic things in a way that most people would expect. And then when you've got somebody that does have a bravado, a different kind of style, and they equate that with, being the end of, kind of government as we know it. To me, it's crazy talk. Indiana, he won by, I think, 19 points in 16. I beat two incumbents with margin because Hoosiers generally have the common sense to see through that kind of haze. And to me, I distill it into this simplicity. If you're happy with government over the last couple, 3 decades, where the institution has, I think, a 15% approval rating, $21 trillion roughly in debt that we've accumulated, now back up to $1 trillion deficits, my goodness, I think I'd focus more on that than I would somebody that looks like he's at least shaking the system to pay attention to the things that really count, and that's a government that's out of control.
So you're, come November, you're up against one of the Senate's most vulnerable incumbents, Democrat Joe Donnelly, as we mentioned. What message are you sending to Hoosiers why they should rally around you?
Well, in the primary, I was up against two tough opponents that have been in the game for a long time, and I kept it fairly simple there, too, and described them, and mostly Joe Donnelly as a guy that's built a career in politics. And you've got to have accountability and responsibility for where we're at and not just rail against someone like the president that is shaking up the system, kind of questioning norms. And I think that needs to be done because it's not been a good result. And Joe Donnelly has gone with the flow, has not distinguished himself in any way, been a congressman for 6 years and now a senator for 6, and has pretty well towed the Schumer-Pelosi line. And, I've been a business guy that moved back to my hometown and started a little business, and after many, many years of hard work and a hard scrabble existence, turned it into a national one. I have 3 of my 4 kids in the business. Kind of gives me the peace of mind to do this. We need more folks that have lived conservatism in the real world. If you keep sending the same kind of people like Joe Donnelly that have been part of the problem, that believe in larger government, have no idea how to balance a budget because they don't come from conservatism practiced in the trenches, we're going to expect more of the same. And Joe's got a record that was difficult in the primary. We were all conservatives philosophically. My main case to the public was, let's quit sending folks that have made a career out of politics where they calculate their vote to get reelected, do things in a way when they get there, they forget what they said while they were campaigning. I'm going there, I think, for the right reasons. I've addressed health care issues in my own business and found a way to freeze costs and give better care in a sustainable way 8-9 years ago. I've worked on hard projects like, rebuilding our infrastructure in the state of Indiana. We'd be the envy of most states now with the hard decisions we made back in 2017. Everything I've learned, I've done it in the real world. These guys that go there and make a career out of politics, they've given us what we got, and apparently guys like Tom Friedman like that.
I think that's a good point you raise about living a small C conservative life in the private sector. But also in Indiana in particular, the turnaround that started with Mitch Daniels at the beginning of the century, that has to help because it seems to me the Republican brand in Indiana has really increased in equity over the last 15 years because of the conservative reform path that Hoosier Republicans have taken under Daniels and Pence and now Holcomb and in the state legislature. You have a record of success. You've turned the state around. I mean, Indiana is in a much different place than it was before Mitch Daniels took over 15 years ago.
Well, it's ranked the most effective state government in the country. It would be, in terms of the parameters for business-friendly climate, it ranks in the top 5 across almost all categories. But mostly, Mitch Daniels inherited a situation where Democrats were running with no cash balance, even in a state like Indiana, living from year to year, then had to navigate through the 2008 downturn and did a lot of things that have just set us back on the right course, not complicated ideas. Most households, most local governments, all state governments keep a cash balance, live within their means. So whatever you're supposed to be doing, whether it's a government or a business, you've got the health to keep persevering into the next year. And Governor Pence started the process of paying attention to infrastructure. For Indiana, it's our comparative advantage. It's what we've got to be good at. And our roads and bridges were falling apart because prior politicians didn't address it. I'm a fiscal conservative, and I could tell the difference between a tax that goes to consumption versus one that goes to a tangible investment. And what for Hoosiers would be the most important thing that we need to get right would be our Crossroads of America and our infrastructure. We made that hard decision. And I think that's the kind of thinking along the lines of a business. You don't wait until your roof falls in, to repair it. You make tough decisions where you need to, but you keep government lean and mean so it can do its job. I think in a limited way, but in an effective way.
All right, well, let's talk about I-65, though. You need to resurface or expand or put a shoulder on the road for I-65. And you got to teach people you drive on the right and pass on the left. You think I've spent some time on I-65?
Do you have some time to be a traffic cop on I-65, Mike?
Well, I think that we even in the budget that we added $1 billion to things like lane expansion.
Thank you.
69's got to get completed on its final leg from Martinsville, Indiana to Indianapolis. We got to build the twin bridges in Kentucky down around Evansville to actually complete 69. We did that in 2017. Plus, we put money in the budget so that you're not dodging chuck holes, even on limited lanes. And there was room in that budget to address some lane expansion on 70 and 65, the vertical and the horizontal byway in our state. No other state's done that. We've done it and kept everything else in line and have a cash balance. Some of the things I'll take to the federal level, along with my private sector experience, I think step into the Senate knowing more about what to do with health care and infrastructure than almost all of them there, because most of them have not come from the real world to where they've done something built something had to manage a budget year after year.
Now, I put this question in the past to both Governor Daniels and then Governor Pence when he was governor, and they wouldn't take me up on it. I'm going to ask you the same question. So I asked both of them if they would consider scrambling the Indiana National Guard and invading and taking over Illinois and annexing it. Maybe you can't do that at the federal level, but you could introduce perhaps legislation that would make Illinois a territory then that could be annexed by Indiana. Would you consider that?
Well, I think that might have been something we would have tried 4 or 5 years ago, but I think the flow from the west to the east across the Hoosier border
it's happening
is
anyway.
About as much as we can handle.
Yeah,
so,
right, exactly.
We got folks coming into this state to build their businesses, and I'm lucky. I grew up in a little town in southern Indiana, so full of entrepreneurs and hardworking people. Per capita, I'd put it up with any place in the state or the country. And wife and I have been entrepreneurs. She's had her own business for her only job for 40 years on our downtown square. And I, for 17 years, worked to get a concept that I could grow nationally. And Indiana in general is like that. You've got communities across the state that, down to the local government, and especially the state government, the welcome mat is out there, and that's why we got a great future.
He is Mike Braun. He's the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate in Indiana, running against Joe Donnelly. Mike, thanks for joining us. Look forward to catch up with you again as the campaign unfolds. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Enjoyed it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Coming up, it's okay for Wanda Sykes to call someone a primate, but not for Roseanne Barr. We'll explain. But first, here's your forecast. Some rain and from tropical rainstorm Alberto is in the area. There's going to be rain in spots off and on throughout the day. And then by tomorrow morning, just sunny skies, hot, a high of 91 degrees. Let's get into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. Southbound 53 is a little heavy ran to Euclid, much better than it was yesterday at this time. Then farther south on 355, we're seeing delays from the Army Trail Toll to St. Charles. Northbound, it's slow from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway and from the Army Trail Toll to 290. Reagan Tollway bottled up Midwest to the Tri-State and on the Tri-State. Southbound delays from the Adams Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound Southwest Highway to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to the bridge. Eden's 20 minutes like Cook to Montrose outbound 36 Kennedy, holding at 43 minutes O'Hare to downtown. The express lanes cost you at least 10 minutes. Locals are faster. Outbound 42 minutes downtown to the airport. Eisenhower an hour and 2 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound 47 minutes. Stevenson an hour and 8 minutes, 355 to the drive. Ryan 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
As a parent, you want what's best for your children. That means sending them to a school where they'll get the superior education they deserve, and that also shares your values. That can be tricky these days, as public schools have changed and private schools can be expensive. Your household budget has already been cut to the bone, and it's hard to imagine where you'll find that extra money. Well, there's help to lessen that financial burden and provide your child with the very best education at half the cost. At AM 560 The Answer, we work with private schools throughout the Chicagoland area to provide tuition for families at half the normal cost. Just log on to halfpriceschools.com and you'll find some of Chicagoland's finest private schools, from preschool all the way through high school, at half the cost. And chances are there's a school right in your neighborhood. Invest in your child's education and future at halfpriceschools.com. A limited number of half-price vouchers are available. Go to halfpriceschools.com now.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule. Thousands of doctors, health specialists, and professionals recommend Balance of Nature as a way of improving their health. Listen to a few unsolicited success stories from doctors that not only recommend it, but use Balance of Nature as well.
I look at Balance of Nature and I look what it's doing for me as I've started taking it, and for the patients that I have that are taking it, it's been phenomenal watching the changes that have happened and how much healthier and how much more energy that they have. I haven't heard any negative feedback from any of my patients who have been taking the product. The thing that amazes me with it is that it's so simple.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Deb, I'm so done with today. Traffic was awful. I couldn't stop for coffee. I have conference calls all morning, plus all these reports to go through. And look, it's 75 and sunny, and I'm stuck in here.
Relax. It's going to be an awesome day. Corporate is throwing a picnic in the parking lot for lunch, and they ordered tasty catering.
What? Did I miss the memo?
Apparently. It's going to be great. They got burgers, grilled chicken, sides, the works. You know, Tasty Catering's picnic food is excellent.
Oh, yeah, I know. We had them for our holiday party.
Today, they're bringing out the Make Your Own Burger Creation Station. They have everything you can think of, like sriracha, blue cheese crumbles, bacon, sautéed mushrooms, and caramelized onions. And they serve it straight off the grill, the way a great burger should be.
Okay, maybe there's still hope for today. I just hope I don't spill mustard on this new tie. Good thing I've got my bib.
You have a bib?
You don't?
Tasty Catering's picnic menu has all the delicious summertime food favorites you crave and more. Go to tastycatering.com to peruse mouth-watering picnic menus and start planning your picnic today. tastycatering.com.
Dan Proft here with a home loan expert. He is Ryan Kelly, homeloanexpert.com. A bit of a credit crunch since the recession on the self-employed, the owner-operator of a business. And Ryan, I wonder how you effort to cater to the entrepreneurial set.
You know, what a great question. And I'm a business owner, and there's a lot of us out there. It doesn't matter if you're one person or if you have 200 employees. As an independent contractor or a business owner, you like to write off every expense you can, and you should. You should write off your marketing, your part-time assistants, your staff. The problem in the past has been when you do take advantage of your tax write-offs and you bring your income down on your tax returns, lenders have been denying you for the mortgage, and that's just crazy. So we rolled out our new loan program. It's called the Bank Statement Mortgage. If you are an independent contractor, self-employed borrower, or own a business, I don't even need your tax returns anymore. In fact, I don't need pay stubs, W-2s, K-1s, or 1099s. I qualify you with your bank statements. Apply online for your bank statement mortgage today at thehomeloanexpert.com. Thanks, Dan. The Home Loan Expert, LLC.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy and Obama gal pal Val at a town hall last night, hastily organized by MSNBC to respond to the Roseanne Barr tweets that led to the cancellation of her show. Here's what Val had to say.
Well, first of all, I think we have to turn it into a teaching moment. I'm fine. I'm worried about all the people out there who don't have a circle of friends and followers who come right to their defense. The person who's walking down the street minding their own business and they see somebody cling to their purse or want to cross the street. Those ordinary examples of racism that happen every single day.
Examples of racism like Wanda Sykes, who's one of the producers on the Roseanne show, when she compared President Trump to a primate. This is okay?
I couldn't believe that Donald Trump won. I couldn't believe that we have elected an orangutan to run the country. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you kidding me? They voted for an orangutan? This is ridiculous.
There's some irony. I mean, they're comedians. They provoke. They try to stir the pot. Roseanne, yes, she was way out of line, but I just think it was just a quick knee-jerk reaction from ABC. And now it's not only her I feel bad for, but people that are fans of the show. And maybe this was a statement that was made on the show that came back to haunt her. Here's Roseanne in last week's episode.
Yeah, it's against the law because your generation made everything so PC.
She's talking about millennials and how they've changed our society.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? Valerie Jarrett and her big friend circle is not that big. She was not this beloved figure in the Obama White House. Rahm Emanuel despised her, not that he's not also detestable, because he is, but he compared her to one of Saddam Hussein's sons. And Axelrod and her locked horns, too. So, I mean, of course, there's going to be jockeying for power and access, and she won.
She won hands down. She still has it. Still lives with the Obamas.
Yes. But the one of the biggest problems with all of this, in addition to Roseanne being Roseanne. I mean, again, like, this is something out of character for Roseanne being vile. It's not.
Right. She's been doing this long before President Trump became president. In 2013, she compared Susan Rice to a primate.
Well, okay. Well,
But
that
I'm just
doesn't
saying-
that doesn't
because everyone's
excuse it
saying that
either.
that she was motivated by President Trump. She was not. She's had crazy racist, just crazy thoughts her whole career.
Yeah, she's a vile, kind of, marginally together person. I mean,
still,
she
like-
always has been. But what you've also done here is like make Valerie Jarrett a sympathetic figure. Because what was said about her was vile and inappropriate. That's sort of sad too.
Well, it's sad too because Roseanne was the first show. I don't know if you watched it growing up, but
No.
you never watched Roseanne growing
No.
up. But it made you feel like
You know why?
okay.
Because she's vile.
Yeah, but
she always has
the
been.
cast around her isn't bad, and the storyline I thought was good. It's set in suburban Chicago in a blue collar town, and it made people who lived in other blue collar towns like, okay, this is the first show that we watch where we're not watching, rich people.
Mm-hmm.
You're watching people like yourself.
I was watching reruns of The Courtship of Eddie's Father at the time.
And where's your Mrs. Beasley doll? Yes. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, fresh off last year's House Republican cave on tax increases and this year's Senate Republican cave on abortion and radical left feminism, you have a new House Republican cave on gun rights. We'll talk to Jeannie Ives about it at 8:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Sapp.
Gray skies, 74 degrees at 8:30. A man is dead following a shooting and crash in downtown Chicago. Police say the victim was driving early this morning in the South Loop near Polk and Clark when another vehicle pulled up and someone fired shots inside. Police are on the scene of a UPS freight facility in Lexington, Kentucky at this moment following a large explosion. Police are saying it was 2 propane tanks that may have exploded at that facility. Two suffered life-threatening injuries. 10 others were transported to the hospital as a precaution. Parts of the Nashville International Airport are being evacuated at this moment due to a suspicious package. Bomb squad responding to that situation. It's apparently unfolding at a pre-security check area. Republican Missouri Governor Eric Greitens is resigning amid questions about an extramarital affair and campaign fundraising.
And it's clear that for the forces that oppose us, there is no end in sight. I cannot allow those forces to continue to cause pain and difficulty to the people that I love.
And Harvey Weinstein's lawyer is saying this morning his client will plead not guilty to sexual misconduct charges and decide later today whether to testify before a Manhattan grand jury. Ben Brafman also claims the disgraced movie mogul had a 10-year affair with one of his rape accusers and calls the allegations absurd. Authorities revealing more information about a murder-suicide last week in Winfield. Carl Klinkenbeard and his parents, Clyde and Nancy, were found dead in their home from multiple injuries, all caused by a sharp-edged object. Investigators now believe Carl attacked and killed his parents, then took his own life. After learning his parents were going to kick him out of that home, the son had a long history of mental illness and drug abuse. Chicago sports, Cubs edged the Pirates thanks to an Ian Happ double. 8-6 in Pittsburgh. Anthony Rizzo also sparked a 7th-inning rally. 3 solo home runs for the Indians. They power past the White Sox 7-3. The news, a service of Accountemps. When you could use help closing your books and need additional staff, it's time to call Accountemps. They can provide you with bookkeepers and other accounting and finance professionals on a temporary or project basis and fast. Call today, Accountemps, a Robert Half company. 8:33 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says the leaks need to stop.
You know, the president used the word traitors and cowards. Those are his words, and I'm not going to push back. I'm definitely going to remind you that if you don't like where you're working, get out. You don't need to sit in the White House and take notes and then rush to the Hill or Politico or somewhere else. You don't.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897. When you're insured by Mag Mutual, you get more than just medical professional liability protection. You get partnership. They're your partner when it comes to safeguarding patients, physicians, and healthcare teams. Everything they do is focused on protecting and supporting you in the practice of medicine. From helping you save money to mitigating your risk, they are your single source for customized service and support. Their promise to protect includes comprehensive insurance solutions for the practice, business, and regulation of medicine, from expert guidance to an extensive resource library and complimentary access to up-to-date. They're committed to creating a plan specifically for you, ensuring your continued success. You can stay focused on your patients, knowing Mag Mutual is your partner. Visit them on the web at magmutual.com.
For more information about Mag Mutual in Illinois, please contact Jim Nelson at RT Nelson at 630-990-4220 or by email at jnelson@rtnelson.com. Visit their website at rtnelson.com.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
8:35. Folks who may be traveling from Chicago to the Peoria area, you might want to be aware of this. There is a flood warning in effect in Peoria right at this moment. 4.5 inches of rain this morning has fallen there. And I-155, I-474, and Interstate 74 all tied up with water over the roadway. You're not allowed to get through. There's some major flooding in East Peoria this morning. Water spilling over from the Illinois River. And manhole covers displaced. Just a mess down there this morning. So if you're headed there, you're a trucker carrying a load, drive with care. On our roads, in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Michael. On the Kennedy, the express lanes have improved. The locals, not so much. Now 52 minutes O'Hare to downtown. It's 43 from Montrose, 35 in the express lanes. They had been much heavier earlier. Outbound 40 minutes downtown to O'Hare. The Edens is good inbound. Outbound heavy, though. Montrose to Church, 33 minutes to get to Lake Cook. Eisenhower, an hour, 390 to downtown, 40 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 50 minutes to 390. Stevenson, an hour and 3 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 36 minutes. The Ryan is 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 22 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 30. Southbound Tri-State slow from the Adams Tollway to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound jam. Southwest Highway to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to the bridge. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Some rain today, high 79. Rain continues to fall through the evening. Cloudy, warm, and humid, a low of 70. Currently 76. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
Hey, Joe Walsh here. I want Trump to stay unpredictable on the world stage. We'll talk about that when Freedom returns at 5.
Dan and Amy, have you seen the new TV ads, heard the new radio ads featuring CPS CEO Janice Jackson? Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. Financed by Progress Chicago, a nonprofit that sprung up as Tiny Dancer is trying to salvage his political career, funded by the big unions backing Tiny Dancer, as well, of course, as his number one campaign donor, and consigliere Michael Sachs, the CEO of the investment firm Grosvenor, and who just recently hired the head of Chicago Federation of Labor, Jorge Ramirez, who went from a Workers of the World Unite guy to a vulture capitalist, as he would describe. It's fascinating to see those transitions occur when they do among the left in the big city. Here's the ad. I mean, by the way, you got a Missouri governor who just resigned, in part over an investigation into how he did campaign financing involving a nonprofit. I'm sure Kim Fox or Lisa Madigan are very interested in
They're all over it, Dan.
what's going on at Progress Chicago here. Here's the ad.
Yo soy William Clay, soy de la ciudad de Chicago. Como padre y maestro de CPS y ahora jefe de escuelas en CPS, he visto las escuelas en Chicago avanzando. Hay estudios que nos muestran como líderes nacionales en mejoramiento académico. Más estudiantes que nunca se gradúan y van a la universidad. Hemos luchado duro por conseguir nuestra parte justa del financiamiento de la educación. Pero nuestro progreso hacia la equidad y la justicia apenas empieza. Estamos luchando por las escuelas públicas de Chicago.
You agree or disagree?
Well, that was, basically what he was saying. Is
Yeah,
that
why don't you
everything's
go
fine,
translate that, Jess?
And that the new jefe, the new boss, is El Pueblo Unido jamás será vencido.
Well, I play the Latino version for two reasons. One is because you understand that Rahm's electoral play is Latino voters because he's been, he's persona non grata among black families in Chicago.
Right.
So that's
and he
his
can
play.
have breakfast at Valois all he wants. He's
Right.
not going to change the way African Americans feel about him.
And the CPS message is CPS is showing great strides, great improvement. Everything's turning up roses in CPS. So he's, using these flacks, including Janice Jackson, Miss Jackson, if you're nasty, to lie to targeted populations that he needs to stitch together as part of his, plurality in the primary, majority, ultimately coalition come April of next year. I just wanted to see. So, just pay no attention to it. Reporters pay no attention to it because I know the Sun-Times is busy reporting on how many tickets Bridget Gaynor got that she paid. Pay no attention to what the people actually in charge are doing, okay?
Who cares about that?
For more on the range of issues affecting the city and the state as we're nearing the end of regular session in Springfield, we're pleased to be joined again by State Representative Jeannie Ives, Republican from Wheaton. Jeannie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on.
So yesterday, we'll get to the budget in a second, but I just want to note this, just kind of as yet another example of why this state is the catastrophe that it is. You don't have really two functioning parties competing, certainly not in the city, but just generally speaking. So we had 15 House Republicans. That's nearly a third of the caucus vote for the largest structural tax increase in Illinois history last year. Then we have, so far this year, 8 Senate Republicans, which is about a third of that caucus, more than a third of that caucus, vote for the all who ostensibly are pro-life, vote for the pro-abort, radical left feminist ERA. Now you've got 7 House Republicans, going back to the House, who yesterday voted for a socialist gun store regulation bill, Don Harmon out of Oak Park. You had suburban legislators, including the House Republican minority leader, Jim Durkin, who during the campaign said he's a big gun rights guy. Jim Durkin, Peter Breen, David Olson, Christine Winger, Mike McAuliffe in the city, Steve Anderson, and Patty Bellick, who are both on their way out, vote for Don Harmon's gun regulation bill. Explain.
Sure,
please.
and then David Harris missed the vote and then got on the mic and said he intended to vote yes. So you can add him to the list as well.
Happy to. And so that vote does what?
That vote adds additional licensing requirements on honest gun dealers in the state of Illinois. That vote is basically sending, if you want to purchase your weapon, you're going to end up in Indiana or Wisconsin to get it instead, because this is going to put small gun dealers out of business.
And this is, McAuliffe in the city and Winger, Breen, and Olson in the suburbs. I would argue this is them trying to read the tea leaves and take a defensive posture to satiate suburban women who they think could spell their defeat if they don't pander to them.
Well, sure. So this is, the emphasis for this bill was really, we need to crack down on gun dealers that are sending weapons to people that aren't authorized to get them, which is absolutely a false premise to begin with, because we have so many regulations on who can buy a gun and all the background checks that have to occur to buy that gun. And even in the testimony that we heard earlier, essentially they're saying that 90% of those straw purchases can be taken back to maybe 5% of the gun dealers. So I put together a competing bill that said, look, if this bill goes into effect, if you put all these restrictions on gun dealer licensors, then honestly, if you're really going after the folks that are not doing this in accordance with the law and are not doing the background checks that are necessary, then your law should only go into effect for those where guns have been traced back 3 or more times in the last 5 years to criminal offenses. And so if you put your money where your mouth is, let's not do group punishment on people who honestly sell guns. Let's take care of the bad actors.
Yeah. Are you okay with the 72-hour waiting period, or do you think it should just be whenever the background check is cleared?
Look, those committing the crimes aren't waiting 72 hours to get their guns. They're not. They're going across the state lines or doing something else. So law-abiding citizens, all these gun dealers are meant to punish our law-abiding citizens. They don't get to the root of the problem.
So
you're not okay with the 72-hour waiting period?
No, I'm not okay with that. Okay. No.
So the feckless Jim Durkin is leading the retreat on gun rights. And what is happening with respect to, we talked to Ralph Rivera, lobbyist for Illinois Right to Life yesterday, about the idea of doing a separate appropriations for House Bill 40. This is the taxpayer funding of abortion on demand all 9 months that Governor Rauner signed into law. The most radical pro-abortion legislation ever signed into law by a governor in U.S. history at the state level. The separate appropriation that would put people on the spot to say whether or not they would fund it, and potentially to hold up any deal on the budget over that. I know that is something that you've taken up along with Tom Morrison and others. Where does that stand?
We don't know where that stands. We had a bipartisan press conference among 12 of us yesterday, raising it up to the public, saying that we've been asking this for now a couple weeks to have a separate appropriation bill just to appropriate money in support of HB 40, which was taxpayer funding of abortion. And our leadership has not gotten back to us on whether or not, on either side of the aisle, by the way, on whether or not they'll allow that to go forward. Yet it is common practice to do that on a number of other appropriation bills, to have a separate line item that is voted up or down on whether or not you want to spend money on it. It would give us a right of conscience to refuse to fund abortion, and it's the right thing to do so that people can once again see what are your priorities in spending.
Why wouldn't Brady or Bill Brady, the Senate minority leader, super minority leader, Durkin, the Senate, the House minority leader, why wouldn't they get back to you? House Bill 40, 73 of 73 legislative Republicans voted against it. So the entire Republican caucuses are unified in opposition to it. Why wouldn't they want to affect their viewpoint by voting not to fund it and putting the onus on Democrats to do so?
Well, everybody down here in leadership is afraid of any one little item blowing up the entire budget process, which is why rank and file members have received very little information about the budget to begin with. We just finally got to get some details yesterday, but I found out even more details just reading the Chicago Tribune this morning that have not been revealed to rank and file members on the budget. So they assumed that this would be an item that would blow up the budget negotiation, and all they want is a budget at any cost, at any price, without any conflict.
So
that's why they're not doing this.
So that's the bottom line. They're up against the May 31st deadline before it goes to a supermajority to ratify any budget, and they just want to go home. They just want to. There's no fight at the leadership level. That's essentially how I hear what you're saying.
No, and they want to pretend that the budget they're proposing is going to be balanced, but I have a strong suspicion that it's not. The budget doesn't even include any money for the $1.1 billion supplemental spending bill that they need to pay off bills that accumulated from last year's budget that was, never taken care of. So you're already just starting out way behind.
And the headline in the Tribune today is that there could be cut spending on prisons, social services. Is that true?
maybe in particular areas, but overall the budget's going to spend about $38.5 billion. And if you look at either the nonpartisan Commission on Government Forecasting, they only say that we're going to have about $37.86 billion to spend. And so this number is about $600 million higher than what COGFIS says we have to spend. So, and it also includes some fuzzy math on selling the Thompson Center. And I've even heard behind the scenes that they're including possible revenue coming out of an increased sales taxes if the South Dakota case that's up at the Supreme Court on internet sales actually gets a favorable review. So, I mean, it's I don't trust the revenue numbers, quite frankly, and so I don't trust the budget at this point.
Yeah, so, I mean, why not pass another budget that's $500 billion out of whack? What's the difference? Just throw it on the pyre, right?
Well, they already are. That's the $1.1 billion supplemental. All it's going to, when we appropriate it or when they pass that bill to appropriate it, it's just going to the back bill pile, sitting at the comptroller's office. There's no actual revenue associated to pay that actual supplemental spending. None.
But the Wayfair
and
case,
they're going to try and call us balanced.
Yeah, but the Wayfair case and maybe sports gambling, sports books and marijuana legalization, and that's in our future to just continue to try and increase and diversify revenue streams. Even though, what's the backlog of unpaid bills? What's the backlog right now? $9 billion.
It's close to that. I think it's a little bit under that. But what's interesting is we were essentially told the only thing that they want coming out of this budget is a full year budget, a balanced budget, and no tax increase. Well, the tax increase comes when you have to borrow more money anyway. So, and that's what they're going to do. Balanced, I doubt that's going to happen. But the big problem here is that there's no talk about any reform.
Well, and
no reform at all.
And the other big problem here that so many of your Republican colleagues don't seem to understand is, despite the bloviations from Camp Rauner about his improving poll numbers, I did my own. They're not improving. But here's the bottom line on just the survey I did. Ask the question, who do you think is going to win the governor's race in November? Forget who you're voting for. Who do you think is going to win? 2-1, Pritzker to Rauner. And if that distribution of people think you cannot win, then you are not going to win. And that spread speaks to how depressed and demoralized the base of the Republican Party is. So for those suburban legislative colleagues of yours who think that surrender and pandering and relentless capitulation is the way to re-election, they're in for a rude awakening because they're going to be very lonely on Election Day as it pertains to conservatives coming out to provide their base vote while they're trying to reach from the left back to their base. It is those kind of gymnastics are not electorally possible, and I just sense that your caucus mates don't appreciate that.
I would agree with you. The Republican electorate has woken up, and they're paying attention, and they're not going to give these guys a pass anymore. And so they're going to have to explain themselves, and there's no explanation for some of the votes they've been taking from, onerous gun dealer licensing that's not going to do anything to protect public safety to going for a budget that funds taxpayer funding of abortion and isn't balanced and has zero reforms, no property tax relief, nothing. And, by the way, spends $400 million more in K through 12 education when we had a record amount spent last year already with no results required.
She is State Representative Jeannie Ives, Republican from Wheaton, who I have a sense can't wait to be done in Springfield come January. Jeannie, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Have you written a book and want to get it published? Christian Faith Publishing helps thousands of authors publish their books with a company dedicated to strong Christian values.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
It all starts with our free author submission kit. Call 800-566-1012. We'll edit, design, copyright protect, print, and distribute books online and in bookstores everywhere. You'll see your books in Christian bookstores, Amazon, iTunes, Barnes & Noble, and many others. If you have a biography, novel, devotional, self-help, or other inspirational work, we get it published. We provide professional book editing, award-winning design, with the highest royalty structure in the industry. Plus, you retain 100% rights to your work. Get your book published today. Call for your free author submission kit at 800-566-1012. That's 800-566-1012. 800-566-1012.
Hey, there's still an opportunity to play golf with Dan and I on Thursday, June 14th at the beautiful Bolingbrook Golf Tournament. We're raising money for the 100 Club of Chicago. They're helping this morning the Juan Bucio family. He's a firefighter who died while trying to save a man who fell off a boat. He has a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old son, and the 100 Club helps the family financially, and it educates the children. It provides them money to help those kids go to college. So we want you to take part in this event to benefit this great organization. And when you buy a foursome for $1,196, you can become a business benefactor, which means we'll give you 25 60-second commercials. Here's what you do. Call Anjanette right now. The number is 847-472-8951. Again, her name is Anjanette, and you can just ask her any questions. She'll answer any questions you might have, I should say. The number is 847-472-8951. Enjoy a great day of golf, support a wonderful charity, and reach new customers when you become a business benefactor. 847-472-8951.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies in a capsule.
I went to have my blood test done a few weeks ago, and I met the doctor, and he was really encouraged by my progress, and I showed him what I was taking, and he started looking at all the ingredients, and he said, I'm really impressed with the shiitake mushroom. And he said, this stuff, it could clean out your arteries. And I'm like, oh, wow. He said, you may be onto something here. And he said, you just keep that up, and maybe you can start cutting back on your medication. And he says, you're helping your health by doing that. And I'm like, whoa, endorsement by the doctor.
When you call, use discount code CHICAGO, and we'll take 35% off your first month's order and ship it to you free. Call 800-246-8751. That's 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity for Upstream-Ideas.com. How many more shootings before we do something? That is, how many more good guys with guns have to stop bad guys with guns before we stop stigmatizing inanimate objects? The high school resource officer in Dixon, Illinois, and the Good Samaritan outside the restaurant in Oklahoma City aren't inanimate objects or three-letter acronyms, so they are of minor passing interest to the D.C. press corps. While well-intentioned Americans want to hear ideas about improving public safety, Champagne socialists are interested only in using people's fears against them to leverage more power over them. This fact was laid bare in a recently released email exchange between Obama consiglieres Rahm Emanuel and Arnie Duncan 2 days after the Sandy Hook massacre. In the exchange, Rahm tells Duncan, go for vote this week ASAP before it fades, tap people's emotion, make it simple, assault weapons. The dizzying intellect that is Arnie Duncan replied, yup, thanks. You understand now? You understand how little the political royals think of you and that they care for you even less than that? They are as cavalier with your life as they are craven in using the lives of 20 dead children to manipulate you. You might consider this when you're deciding how much of your life to turn over to them.
Selling your home, get ready with Mike McKetty. 708-945-2121. 708-945-2121.
Ready to sell your real estate? Call me, Mike McKetty, at Century 21 Affiliated. With over $1 billion in closed sales since 1999, I have a proven marketing plan that works. Clients like my straightforward, no-nonsense approach in positioning properties to sell. I offer accurate evaluations, saving you time, money, and unnecessary stress. Together, with my skilled team of associates and over 25 local Chicagoland offices, we help guide you through the process and get you sold. Call today, 708-945-2121. I look forward to earning your business and selling your home.
Selling your home, get ready with Mike McKetty. 708-945-2121. 708-945-2121.
Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. I guarantee you can have confidence when calling me at 312-896-2110 or going to townstone.com that our only interest is getting you the best refinance deal available and to make sure your home purchase closes on time and without headaches. Don't pay too much. Townstone will compete on closing costs and interest rates with anyone. So do yourself a favor and check with Townstone before you refinance or buy. If you are starting a new home purchase, Townstone is the only place to contact because we not only help borrowers with great credit, large down payments to streamline their home purchase and close quickly, but we're also experts in helping borrowers with the so-called difficult loans. First-time home buyers, we have a program for you. Are you self-employed or a business owner? We have a special program for you too. Had a BK, short sale, or deed in lieu at least 12 months ago? We also have a new program to get you back into your dream house too. So call 312-896-2110 or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financials, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois, mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639, equal housing lender.
Our freedom and security are made possible through the service and sacrifice of our military and first responders. The Gary Sinise Foundation provides many outreach programs supporting these brave men and women. Join us. Donate at GarySiniseFoundation.org.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got the answer. AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.